wanna drink, I just wanna smoke, I just wanna blow my radio till the cops come knocking to tell me to turn it down. I just wanna ride, I just wanna roll, I just wanna hit the highway roads and go somewhere so far where I can just be me.
And today we got Mike G, comedian extraordinaire.
Come on now. Come on. Let's go.
Yes, sir. We got a real guest.
King of the Amp Life.
King of Amp Life, baby. We in this building.
Leader
man.
of the No Walking Zone.
Hey, it's still no walking zone, man.
Can't walk here.
Yeah, can't walk here.
Yes, sir. Welcome, man. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, I appreciate it. And I've been saying it the whole time, but man, the setup is nice, man. Good stuff, y'all.
We only do the best for our first male guest.
Yeah.
Oh, on the first mail?
Your first male?
Yeah, so you got to start off by telling us your worst sex experience.
Let's do it.
I was like, man, wait.
Let's go.
I don't hear nothing in the
Yeah,
The audio just went out.
audio.
Too.
Really?
Yeah,
All
Lord,
of it?
there we go.
All right, we're back. Wait, no, I don't got nothing in mind.
You serious?
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Nah, you lowered them.
All right, I'm good now. I'm good.
That's
You
weird.
got audio?
It's real low now.
It's real low?
Yeah.
Wow. How about
There
now?
we go.
Oh.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, yeah.
It was on fire when it started, and it's
No,
on
no.
fire now, I guess.
All right, let's start over again. No.
And we're back.
Nah, we ain't doing that. We
just
ain't
edit.
taking.
Edit that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 weeks anyway before you see this episode.
2 weeks?
No.
I was
Be about a week.
Be about a week is our normal turnaround time.
Tops.
There was just some technical difficulties with the last one.
I wish this was my full-time job. If it was my full-time job, it'd be 3 days or 2 days. You know?
How much time are they giving you with it?
No. I'm saying like if editing, like video editing and podcast producing and this shit.
Oh.
If this was all I had to do and I didn't have a full-time job.
Oh yeah, you'll be in there.
Oh man, I'd be popping fucking episodes out in like 2 days.
I like
Let's
it.
get another one.
Yeah, you
I
need to
would-
just quit your job.
Yeah.
Let's all just do it right now.
No, let's
Yeah.
let's build ourselves up and then let's do that.
All right, we can do that.
I mean,
down.
you just started your day job. Motherfucker already wants to quit.
Yeah, I already told
Hey, I
Sandra.
was gonna ask you. You
I'm-
work? You work, bro?
Not until yeah,
March 6th?
I'll be working for started. I go shit. My bad. Nowhere at March 6th.
Come on.
I took Bianca's job.
Oh
You
man.
heard they were hiring after they got rid of her?
They had one opening.
As a matter of fact, we just had an opening from somebody going off.
No, I don't know if you saw the part. She actually got fired because she threatened the chick at the end of it.
Yeah.
I saw that, and it wasn't even the chick that she was. It was the other girl that got in for her, right? Like
Yeah,
the
team-
supervisor.
yeah,
or
the
somebody?
supervisor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's who she got in trouble for
Yeah,
threatening?
I'll see y'all outside.
Oh man, that's it. That's all they need. That's a misdemeanor though, terroristic threat.
Yep.
Oh, is it? All right.
And
But
that's why
still, they're just going through it, going through processing, going through
still.
the booking.
Having the warrant.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, talk about it, bro.
Man, hey, I appreciate y'all having me on. Again, I was sitting here, last couple of days, and I was just thinking about, again, my life, and I guess the only way to describe it is to go kind of in the beginning where it all kind of pretty much
That's where
started.
we got to start.
Shit, they were my first question.
Okay. Well,
Nah,
but no, in 2014, I got out of prison. I went to a halfway house in Dallas because I didn't have a family down here that I could go to, and
Because the Cowboys are there.
How long were you?
5 years. 5 years, and I ended up doing the whole thing because I was being stupid in there. Because that's
how it goes.
You put stupid people with more stupid people, and
Stupid things happen.
stupid things happen.
Hell yeah.
So I ended up.
But
doing,
it's fun in the meantime.
Oh man, and you know what is crazy is I tell people that I don't want to sound like I'm institutionalized, but
Right.
I had some of the best times that
Yep.
I could remember that were.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just making the best out of a
Right.
messed up situation. And it was
Camaraderie
like,
and that shit.
man,
you're in there together.
I tell people, like, I used to be straight up, auto horn and do the whole Spurs thing. Man,
Yeah.
I get out of prison, I don't even care about the Spurs no more. Like, I was just beefing with people because they were from Dallas and Houston, and I needed something to have.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I got out of prison in 2014. I went to Dallas for a year. I tried to do it the right way working, but man, child support.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
that'll
they,
get you.
man, I mean, I would get my check and I would be
feel
literally
you.
like, dude, I want to walk out. Like, why am I working for? I couldn't even pay
Yeah.
I paid $100 a week, $125 a week to the halfway house, and
Oh shit! You gotta pay for the halfway house.
Yeah, hell yeah, you
Oh,
can.
shit.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you gotta pay rent, motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't.
Just stay free.
Yeah, it ain't. But you're sharing a room. You're living with somebody.
Yeah.
But I got out. I couldn't do Dallas no more, and that just sounded nasty. And I ended up coming back.
Mike
to
G does Dallas.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. But I leave Dallas. I come to San Antonio, and the only thing that I remembered was, hey, get back into
Go
selling.
back to what you know.
Go back to what you
Yeah.
know. And again, I
Yep.
tried. I tried doing the right thing in Dallas. Couldn't work out. Well, I ended up coming down here selling drugs. And again, I didn't know anybody. Everybody that I knew before I went to prison fell off and wasn't doing anything. So I come out of prison and I'm starting to sell dope and I'm making good money. So I want to go out. And I'm like, you know what? I tell my boy and my brother, I'm like, hey, let's go out. Let's go to a nightclub. Well, for me, I like to drink. I like to have fun. So it was like,
Yeah.
we're going to turn up.
Right,
So I was
right.
going to these clubs and ordering like 100 shots of whatever. And there wasn't even 100 people in the club.
It'd be
But
like that.
I was just ordering 100 shots like, hey, here, pass them out. And
Yeah.
so I kept doing that. And a lot of people just kept coming like to the clubs that I was at. And
Right.
one day,
How old were you at that time?
I got out of prison when I was 28. I stayed in Dallas for a year, so I got here when I was like 29, and I started doing that. Excuse me. I started doing that, and people just kept on like following me. And again, I was a drug dealer. You have money, you don't care. Hey, come on, you want to party? Let's party.
It's on me.
So
Not the drug dealers I know. They're fucking tight with their money.
So I ended up becoming one of the nightclub managers. The owner was like, "Hey, who are you?" Because they always see me all the time. I would be tipping good, and they're like, "Man, who are you?" And I'm like, "Shit, I'm Mike." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Man, have you ever thought about being a club promoter?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "No." Like, and they're like, "Man, you should think about it." And I was
Right.
like, "All right." Well, at this time, I was already promoting other nightclubs, and I ended up promoting Media Luna and Dillo's downtown.
Oh, shit.
Shout out to Daniel, man, at Media.
What up,
is it?
Daniel?
What is it called now?
Half Moon Saloon.
Half Moon Saloon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going down there, but my crowd was the drug dealers and the
Right.
gangbangers. So the downtown cops didn't like my crowd. So I was packing out the nightclubs, and so every night that I would leave,
Yeah.
they were outside, like at maybe 150.
Yeah,
they're
posted up.
posted. They're posted up outside, and then I'm walking out, and as soon as I'm walking out, they're like, "What's up, Garza? What you doing?" I'm like, "Man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. Y'all leave me alone." I used to walk to the car.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started cussing at them, they're like, "Oh, we got you, disorderly conduct."
Oh.
And so I'm there sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, and you're drunk, public intoxication." And so they would take me to jail. They took me to jail. I want to say probably 13 times in a row. And
Damn,
they
and did you just process in, process out?
process in, process. I had to wait till I
damn.
was sober. I would
Yeah.
have to do the 18 hours. I would literally get out. It was like the next afternoon.
And they could do this to literally everybody on the block.
Everybody, and they told Daniel and them. They told Daniel, if you keep having that guy Mike G in your clubs, we're gonna figure out a way to shut you down. We're gonna get TABC involved.
Oh, fuck.
And so finally, the clubs were like, "Yo, hey Mike, hey, you're just too much." And so
Yeah.
I ended up getting put on for all those tickets. They
Right.
thought I was a homeless person. I had got 18 tickets, and I went in front of the judge, and the judge was like,
All downtown?
yeah, and the judge was like, I've only seen this when they're trying to kick somebody out of downtown, like a homeless person. They just keep
shit.
giving you tickets, and finally it turned into so many that now it's a crime. Now it's like,
Right.
hey, you ain't
pattern.
listening. Yeah. So I had 18 tickets, 18 public intoxications, 18 disorderly conducts, and 4 or 5 jaywalking, because that's what they got me for on some of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you were jaywalking. And so during this time,
That's awesome.
I have a selfie stick, and a lot of people were calling me the selfie stick guy or selfie stick king. But I used to get the selfie stick, and as soon as I would come out of the club,
Yeah.
I would start recording because
Yes.
these cops were trying to mess with me. So I'm like, fuck SAPD. I'm going off like
Right.
walking down the street. And they said, as long as you don't threaten them with physical harm,
it's
you
not,
can tell
yeah.
them whatever you want.
Right.
And so I was
Because
like,
cussing shouldn't even been
but
disorderly
that's
conduct, right?
no, they could get you
For
that.
cussing?
For cussing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started making videos and I started going viral for
Uh-huh.
saying fuck the police.
Yeah.
The video that kind of pushed me over was I snuck my phone inside the paddy wagon, and me and my boy BJ are back there, and I'm going on live, and I'm like, yo, hey, somebody call my mom, tell her to get. I was like, if not, this is my name, this is my SID number, like come bail me out, I'll give you the money. And man, the cops are watching my Facebook because again they were trying to get me. They never knew what I did. They knew I sold drugs, but
Right.
they could never find them
Right.
on me. I would park my car far. I mean,
Yeah.
I would never make it to the car. I would go to jail.
Yeah.
And so
That's funny. They never let you get to the car. Like if I was a cop, I'd be like, let him go to the car.
man,
Get him in the fucking car.
and I'm glad they didn't because my dumb ass would have really got in the car
Yeah.
and got a DWI.
They just wanted you out. They just like get him out of here.
Yeah, and then again, once they started telling, Dillos, you already know, y'all kicked me out. They were like, all right, you don't want him here. He's not here. He's banned.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting all those tickets. I went to court and they said, hey, you know what? We're gonna put you on house arrest. Well, they wanted to give me a year probation, and at this time I had money. I was like, I just got out of prison. I'm like, I'm not gonna do no year of probation. Like y'all tripping. So they're like, well, would you do house arrest? I said, for how long? They said 90 days. I said, bet. But I had to pay $600 for the.
You gotta pay money to stay in your own home.
I got because you got to pay for the stuff. But
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah.
I only had one probation officer, but
Right.
I would have to call him. And since I was a club promoter, because I went to the club that day,
Right.
I got put on probation. They said, come back tomorrow. We're gonna put on the monitor.
Uh-huh.
I went to the club and I was like, hey, we going all out tonight.
Yeah.
Like, and so the club owner was like, what do you mean you gotta? I said, man, for 90 days I'll be gone. I'm gonna be at the house. And
Oh,
she's
man.
like, what if we say you're a club promoter?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like,
that's your job.
I'm like, you know what? That is my job.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll hire you. Tell your probation officer. So I went in the next day to go get the monitor on, and I was like, hey, what am I supposed to do about my job? And he's like, well, what do you do? I was like, I'm a club promoter, and I bartend and stuff. And he's like, well, what times do you need? I said, well, I got to go to the club like around 3, 4 o'clock to prepare. And then I don't get out. The club closes at 2. We got to count.
Right.
We
This
got to
is some
count
bullshit.
money. We got to clean the bar.
Yeah.
He said, all right, I'll give you to 3:30. And I said, bet. So from
12
3
hours?
from 3 o'clock, my monitor would go off. And I could leave the house, which was the time I was doing my runs and dropping off. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I can't. I'll be there after 3. And so
yeah, because they can't have a fucking station at the club to
Yeah.
make sure you're there,
and
right?
but they can't tell
You're
me
at
that I
work.
can't go to my job either.
Right, you're at work. So
I'm
it's
at
like-
work.
Yeah.
So so I ended up doing that, and then again at this time, this just only pushes me up more because the whole time I'm like, fuck the police. Now I got a GPS monitor. I'm in the club buying shots. I mean, and then my hashtag name was fuck my G because every time somebody was like, hey, Mike, you know him? I'm like, man, fuck that dude. So everybody's like, nah, fuck you. And then it went to, man, fuck Mike G. And then that was like, fuck Mike G. That was like the fucking anthem for a while.
Nice.
And so I'm doing the club promoting because now I get to do this, right? So one night I'm at 8811.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all know the old Bombays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was called 8811, and one night I'm over there. It's bike night. I got my bike. I just bought a bike. I had the thing 2 weeks, and again, you're a drug dealer. You got money to do what you want to do. I shouldn't have been on a bike. Had no business being on a bike.
Oh,
So I was like, you know what? Hey, we going out tonight. I got drunk. We got into a fight, and my helmet was in the back of at the bar. But when we went to the bar was like. All the bikes had to check in your helmet because you can hit somebody with it.
Oh, shit.
So
Wow.
I was drunk. I ended up getting into a fight. I think I got knocked out that night because I just remember being outside and I'm like, what the hell? Like I remember fighting and arguing with somebody,
Yeah.
and then now I'm outside and everybody's just going at it. Everybody's like, no, hell no. So I get into a fight and I break my hand. So this is the
scar.
the result of it. So. I'm fighting this guy and I hit him, and when I hit him, I remember my hand, and I turned around and my boy LA was right there. My boy LA got me, and I was like, hey, get him, because I thought he was gonna come back. He's like, nah, you dropped him. So I'm like, man, hey, I gotta go with my hand. So I go to my bike, and again, have y'all driven bikes?
I've never been on a.
No.
Okay, so the
I watched some Sons of Anarchy, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, you're close to it. So the gears are up here. You got to push it in, and then you push the gear shift on your foot. But the clutch thing is here, and my hand's broken. I can't do it. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to get on, trying to turn on the bike and move it. And my boy Tino was like, hey, get in my SUV and I'll drive your bike. So I'm like, bet. I'm like, bro, I gotta go because now my monitor is about 3 o'clock.
Oh shit!
My monitor's about to go off at 3:30.
Oh,
I gotta get home.
shit.
So I'm like, come on, bro. So we take off and his car is on E. I'm like, bro. I was like fucking
Gas
waving.
run.
I was waving him down, and then right there is a Diamond Shamrock. It was a Diamond Shamrock.
Yeah.
So we pull in there. I guess he didn't have a card because he went to the thing, and while he was going to the thing, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm looking at the time, like, fuck, I gotta go. I get on the bike. I put it like this, and he's like, hey, I was like, bro, I gotta go, bro. I'll see you tomorrow. I put the thing in drive, and I'm like, I'm trying to, and I get on. I exit.
Yeah, on the highway?
Well, I get on the little road. I think
Yeah.
that's Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fredericksburg. I take Warsbach. I go down Warsbach and I get on the highway. Ooh. So when I get on the highway, I'm going over 100 miles an hour because I gotta get home.
And you're holding.
And no, I'm like this. I'm like this I'm holding it with this, and I'm like kind of holding it with my wrist because I can't even move my hand. And so I'm going over 100 miles an hour. I'm lit as a pixie stick. I've been doing coke all night.
Yeah.
I got an 8-ball in my pocket. I'm drunk. I'm going over 100 miles an hour. I pass a cop right before the Chachos, that bridge.
Yeah.
Like right before there.
Yeah.
And I'm all the way on the left side of the highway by the shoulder. So I'm going, and then I'm trying to take the 410, that big old ramp that
That
goes.
big one was already there? Okay.
Yeah, it was already there. So I'm trying to take that ramp, but I pass him going 100. He hits his lights, and I'm like, damn. So I'm like, man, I can't make it because I couldn't. I'm all the way over here on the left.
Yeah.
This thing's going. I wouldn't even be able to turn the bike.
Yeah.
So I said, man, fuck it. I'm gonna go faster. So I go faster, and I'm like, I'm gonna exit Vance Jackson. I'm gonna take a left. I'm gonna go down Vance Jackson, get off on West Avenue right there, and I'm home right there. Man, I'm exiting. I keep looking back because I'm like trying to see where the cops at. And I don't got no helmet on. I don't got nothing. So I'm going over 100. I can't really see. I look back. By the time I come back and I'm going under the thing, I see a car right in front of me. I'm exiting. I see a car in front of me, and I hit the back of it. Boom. I try to get out of the way, but I couldn't. I hit the back of it. I hit the wall. I slide 500 feet. My bike slides 1,000 feet. I mean, I'm road rash. My whole thing is, and I remember being in the street, and I remember hearing a car like stop,
shit, yeah,
and the dude gets out, and I'm like, I got the monitor. I'm like, bro, throw me.
I gotta get home.
I'm like, bro, throw me in the ditch, bro. Like, put me right there. Like, I can't go to jail. He's like, bro, I gotta call the cops. Like,
You were right by your house?
no, I'm right in front of you know where the Texan Hospital,
Yeah.
Texan and I-10,
Right.
but going towards
Yeah,
downtown.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm on the access road, and that's where he comes, and he's like, bro, I gotta call it. And I don't remember that. I remember being in the ambulance. I remember them trying to ask me names, and at that time I was still with my wife, and they were like, do you have a number that we can call? I gave them the number, and I just remember the doctor saying, this is gonna hurt, and they grabbed my foot. My foot turned around twice in the accident. And they grabbed my foot, and they kind of picked it up, and I passed out.
Oh, no.
I wake up, and when I wake up, I'm in the room, and my wife's there, my boy, Rex, he's there. Somebody else is there, and I wake up, and I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, man. So basically, when I got into the wreck, they called the sheriff's department. They're like, hey, we got this guy in this thing. He has this monitor on, but he doesn't have no ID. So my probation officer went down there to go try to identify me, but he's like, they couldn't do fingerprints because my hands were swollen. My face was all scratched up, my head, everything.
damn.
And so he was like, basically they told him I was going to die. So he's like, look, I don't want I don't want him being handcuffed if y'all are gonna say y'all's goodbyes. Like, I'll go to the courthouse. I'll see if they'll let him off. And so they go to the courthouse. He tells them basically, hey, he's gonna die. Like, hey, can we just
Close his case?
Can we
close his case or just get him off of the?
No, hey, he's gonna die. Can we close it out? And they're like, yeah, close it out. Boom.
So he's not a fugitive or
Not a
potential
fugitive. Yeah,
fugitive,
but
right?
well, if I was still on probation, they had to have a cop there. I had to be handcuffed.
Right. So
they had to have
that's why they
somebody
had
out.
to
Yeah.
drop the
So
case.
so they were like, hey, well, he's gonna die.
Wow.
Man, that day they took me off. Later on that afternoon, I wake up. I'm like, and they're like, hey, my girl's like, man, you're off probation. Like, they took you off. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, and then that's when she's like, man, the doctor said you're never gonna walk the same ever again. Like, you messed up your leg bad. And I was like, man, whatever. Like, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
At this time, I'm a drug dealer. And again, I fight for my leg probably like 18 months, 23 surgeries.
What kind of health insurance is that?
I didn't have. I didn't have.
Oh.
I didn't have no
I
insurance.
didn't know drug dealers had some kind of health plans.
No.
None at
That
all,
was before Obamacare.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I actually ended up getting Obamacare. There's something like that. That was through their
for that.
and they paid for all the everything that I went through. So anyways, at this time I'm a drug dealer. I'm like, yo, who the hell is not gonna rob a one-legged drug dealer? Like, who's not? You know what I mean? And for me, I got a pride issue. Like, I'm gonna have to shoot you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I had 10 pounds left, and I was like, this is it. After this, I'm done. I'll figure out something.
Yeah.
And so I sold those last 10 pounds. I was like, I'm out the game. Like, that's it. And then again, at this time, I got my leg amputated. I probably was going like a year and a half with no leg, just on crutches, in a wheelchair, and a walker. I mean, I didn't have, the leg that I have right now is $35,000.
Wow.
I didn't have $35,000 at that time just sitting around where I could get a leg.
Right.
So it was basically like, I'm not gonna walk again. And I put in for Texas Medicaid and all of that, but since I'm a convicted felon, I didn't qualify for none of that. And
since you lost your leg running from the cops.
but
But they didn't even charge you with that, right?
You didn't
I outran
They
him.
didn't associate that with that?
He didn't see the accident. He passed. He
Oh,
passed me because
fuck.
he didn't stop.
So
Nothing.
Bro, you ducked a DUI, you fucking ducked
Bro, I was-
probation.
I was 3 times over the limit. They told me my thing. The nurse was like, you were 3 times over your limit. You had 2 grams of coke in your system, and I had like a 3.5 in my pocket. On probation with
It was almost 5.5 in my system.
and
you could have given me 30 more minutes.
I didn't make it home. But I mean, again, I say that because that's how wild I was. I was tripping, and so they let me off, do all of that. I remember calling the Medicaid place. They called me and they were like, hey, I've been waiting. I put in an application because I was like, yo, hey, the government gonna help me. They're gonna pay for my leg. And she called me and she's like, she sounded happy. She's like, hey, Mr. Garza, how you doing? And I've been working with this lady for like 18 months now. And she goes, Mike, what you call it? You were denied. But she sounds happy, like, you don't call, at least call me like, hey,
Yeah.
can I speak to
somber
Mr.
tone.
She's like, hey, can I speak to Mr. Garza? I'm like, hey, this is him. I'm
Instead,
like,
she was like, "Hey, you know that leg you wanted? Go get it."
yeah, she's like, psych, gotcha. But she called me and she was like, I don't remember what else she said, but I just remember hanging up. My son was sitting on the floor. My daughter was on the couch, and I just remember just crying, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I got one leg. I'm a convicted felon. I ain't got no trade. I don't know how to do nothing. I ain't good for nothing.
Yeah.
And I just remember crying, and I remember always hearing somebody say, if you're ever in trouble, you call out to God and God will hear you. Well, I was like, bitch, fuck you.
Right.
Fuck your mama. She wasn't a virgin. She had sex with all these dudes. Didn't know who your dad was and made up the whole Holy Spirit. I was like, I don't know why you got me here, but I'm done. Like, I want to jump off a bridge and I can't even walk to the motherfucker.
Yeah. Man, That dog is
No,
creating another issue for me. He keeps walking through that. I gotta fix it, but you can keep talking. I'm sorry. to interrupt.
Yeah. So what was I? Oh,
You were crown out to God and fuck God.
yeah.
man.
I was cussing him out, and I was like, "Yo, if you're real, then I need to see a sign. Like I need a sign that I know it's you." And I remember just crying. I fell asleep. I woke up a couple hours later. You know, now the kids are getting home, wife's getting home. Now you gotta act like, you know, hey.
Like you weren't crying all day?
Like you weren't crying all day. I ain't just getting
Like,
denied.
I got allergies.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, you know what y'all doing? And like, oh, hey, you know, I cleaned up. You know, I can't do shit. I'm just barely trying to pull my own weight.
Yeah.
And they get home, and I just remember I'm sitting down, I'm watching TV. But that shit, I still haven't told my wife that I got denied. Like, I still hadn't told her, but at this time she was working, she was doing her thing, like holding it down for us.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, damn, how do I tell her that you're gonna have to do it a little bit longer? And so 4 hours later, after I cussed God out, I get a text message from a friend that I haven't talked to in about 2 years at this time. And she's like, Mike, I'm sitting in Bible study, and I feel like God is telling me to invite you to church. And I'm like,
Holy shit.
I was like, oh shit! I just cussed this dude out. Like, but my whole thing for cussing him out, one, I was mad, but the other one was like, I probably, I don't know, maybe I called out to him before, but I mean, I felt like, but you never answered me, so at least you answered me this time by whooping my ass, doing something for me talking about your mama, right? And I mean, that's the way I saw it. Like,
You said, all right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
Come over to my house.
Yeah,
Let's have a
and
talk.
that's exactly what I thought it was. I was like, man, they gonna jump me when I get there. I was like,
The priest were gonna come out and start beating you.
I know
up.
about
boom,
jumping.
boom.
I don't know about beating you up, but then we're gonna do something.
Shit, if you were 20 years younger, you would have really been out of there.
Like,
That's-
come over to daddy's house.
So, so that was a Wednesday, and she was like, I feel like God is telling me to invite you to church. That was a Wednesday. That Sunday, I go to church, September 2nd. And before I go, I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm hotboxing the car. I'm smoking a blunt after blunt. I'm like, because these church people want to see a sinner. Like,
I'm sure what you were Jesse Pinkman.
who's that?
Oh shit!
You didn't see
Really?
Breaking Bad?
Who?
You haven't seen Breaking Bad?
I don't watch TV.
you don't watch-
I haven't watched TV in like years. Probably like 12 years. Probably.
No, like nothing. Netflix.
I mean, I
shit like that?
I probably watched the stuff with my little girl, but like
Yeah.
me sitting down watching the show.
Netflix.
Nah. I mean, when
none
I
of
was in
that
prison,
shit.
they took my TV away, and that was like their way of like fuck you, and that was my way of like I don't need no TV anyways. And
Oh,
as long as I have a
shit.
radio or music, I'm good. Like I don't watch TV, man.
That's interesting.
Like at my house, at my property,
Yeah.
you can't even get Wi-Fi there. I live in the country,
Right.
and you can't you can't get Wi-Fi. You can't
Yeah.
get Wi-Fi. You can get a dial-up out there. That's the
Uh-huh.
only thing you can get.
Do you have phone signal?
Yeah, I mean, I use my phone, and then I got a little hotbox thing that whenever I need to use it, I do it. But my daughter hates it. She's like, I want to move back to the city. I was like, we're not going back.
Oh shit!
We're Amish now.
Yeah,
sounds like
yeah, we're living on the land.
Go build your bed and then go to it.
Yeah, Jesse Pinkman's a motherfucker's just I don't give a fuck. Like
Yeah?
he just didn't give a fuck. Like he's from the streets, and I mean, yeah, it'd take a long time to describe it, but yeah.
That's a whole
I
other
got-
podcast.
I gotta check them out.
Blazed up. fucking
So
going to
I'm
church.
getting high, and again I'm in the parking lot. I'm like, God, like it was blowing my mind that I cussed this dude out a couple days before,
And then somebody just hit you up like,
and I haven't talked to her in 2 years.
yeah.
And even at that, we don't even kick it like that.
Like, had you posted? Were you posting?
I
on
didn't.
Facebook
I
and
didn't
all this
post.
shit?
No, I would. You
What
know,
you were going
You know,
through?
for sister. No, you can't post
Yeah.
that shit on social media. You gotta
Right.
act like it. Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
flamed.
At this
Like, let me
time-
tell you what I did to
At
myself.
this time, I was going viral.
Right.
I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
So I go to church, and I'm sitting on the last row. That's where the sinners sit.
Right.
And I'm sitting back there. They're up there singing. They're up there doing the worship. And then the pastor starts preaching. And he's about an hour and 13 minutes into his sermon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably about 100 people in there.
Yeah.
Small little church. And he's preaching hour and 13 minutes. And then he stops. And he's like, hey, my man back there, pick your hand up. And I was like,
Oh.
and he's like, you. And I'm like, So he's like, man, God told me to tell you that he's going to use your life. And everything that you ever done in your life, God's going to turn it around and use it for his good. And now what I know as prophesying, but that's what he was basically what prophesying is. He hears something from God. He tells you what it is.
He's got to say it.
And that's between you and God. And he just,
I'm just the vessel.
But the stuff that he was telling me was stuff that couldn't nobody know.
Right.
And I got the video.
While he was on stage there?
While he was on stage.
Oh, you got a video of
I
that?
got video of the whole thing. Because that's how I know it was an hour and 13 minutes. Because, I watched the video again and I was like, what? Like how could you know this stuff? You know what I mean? And so I left and again, I was on crutches. I didn't even have a leg. I was leaving out. And he was like, man, I don't know who you are, but man, God's got big plans for your life. He goes, I'm telling you, man, give God 1 year of your life. Your life will never be the same.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to see what's up with this guy.
Yeah.
I leave and something that day changed because it was like the shit that he was saying blew my mind. Yeah. You couldn't have known that. Nobody could. I didn't tell nobody shit.
You tell people this story?
All the time.
Like, how do you deal with people that don't believe it?
So for me, I tell them the same thing. I didn't believe in God.
Right.
What?
I said the worst to him before.
I used to tell him. I used to tell my mother-in-law. She's a Catholic and they believe in the Virgin Mary. But I used to be like, man, fuck that hoe. Right. Man, and then she was like, Mike, I'm gonna pray. Nah, don't pray for me. Fuck him.
Don't waste your time.
Don't even waste your time. Right. And so I understand what it's like to be there, and I tell everybody, hey, you
don't have to
do your thing.
You just story I'm telling you.
You ain't been broken enough.
Right.
Because again, how many times as men do we feel like we just got to be strong all the time, and the whole time. All it takes is a little vulnerability to get some help or to maybe somebody take the load off of you, but we're like, nah.
No, we got to take it.
I got this. Right. And so I tell people, hey, believe me. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to, but if you ever get into a bad spot where you don't know what to do, cuss him out.
Cuss him out.
Cuss him out.
Don't even pray. Don't even pray. You don't gotta pray if you want to.
No, don't pray. Cuss him out. And I tell people, like, why would you say cuss? Because I cuss God out. Right. And I understand that not everybody is going to come like, oh, I grew up in church. Hey, hallelujah, Jesus Christ. Like, there's not people like that. And again, I wasn't raised in church. I didn't know about anything like that. So again, I left the church that day. My life drastically changed that day. It was like, all right, if you're real, I'm gonna search you. But I want a red bird to fly on the tree. And while he's on the tree, I want him to shake, and the feather falls. And I'll pick it up, and I know you real.
Damn, Forrest Gump.
No, I was telling God, like, yo, this is what... If
I want to be sitting on the bench with a box of chocolates.
Hey, and I want the feather, and I wanted to fall on the shoelace. But that was my prayer. And during that time, and which is crazy because when I was coming here...
You know the name of my neighborhood,
What is the name of your neighborhood?
Damn right. That's what I was like.
What is the name?
You surrounded. They name it for a reason.
Bro.
When I go hiking in my neighborhood, surrounded by them. Bro.
So again, I'm at this time, I'm like, God, but I'm seeing God do things. My friend ended up, like, again, 5 months after I go to church, my friend ends up calling me. He's cutting up carpet in apartments. He's like, hey, bro, you just got your leg amputated, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, bro, I just found a prosthetic leg in the closet of this apartment that I'm tearing apart. Yeah. He's like, what side are you? I was like, my right side. He goes, bro, it's a right foot. I'm like, you're fucking lying. He's like, for real. I go over there, I rush over there, I pick up the leg, it's a bag with all these stuff. But I don't know anything about prosthetic. Right. So I get the leg, I pull into the McDonald's over there by St. Mary's. Yeah, I tried. I'm like, and then again. So,
you didn't even fucking upgrade the firmware or anything.
So this part right here is specifically made to my leg. And everybody else that gets a prosthetic, this thing is made to you. Like, gotcha. Every bump,
really?
So I didn't know this. So right. I'm trying to put this guy's leg on. I'm like, it's not fitting. I go home. I throw the leg in the closet. I don't even see it for another year. I'm like, man, that shit ain't no good.
They can't retrofit that? Or you don't even care? Like, you're like, fuck it. I don't got the money.
I don't got the money. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, fuck that. Throw it in the closet. It's gone.
Are you, like, at this point, Are you like just frustrated with life, like, or are you in the middle of like, nah, shit's gonna happen?
No. I'm like, I want to die.
You want it to be
I want
over.
to take my life.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't figure out how to do it without my kids.
Right.
Feeling one day like, damn, I wasn't enough for dad. Like,
Right.
and so, but again, it was like, damn, I'm tired of going through this shit. Like,
Yeah.
my whole life has just been one wreck after another.
Yeah.
And again, most of it was my fault. But when you get a bad start,
Yeah.
I mean that you're already on that crooked path, and,
Yep.
and to get yourself right, everything that you've done,
Yeah.
you think that that's normal.
I'm
Man,
glad
you probably should have just got back on a motorcycle.
bro.
I couldn't balance.
How was your hand? Yeah, I mean, I, I've said it many times. It's suicide is easiest on the person who does it, right?
Come on.
And they don't. A lot of times, and it's not to shame anybody who's committed suicide, right? Because that's a desperate state.
I mean, and again, I think about that. Like,
But-
how would you have to be
right to do it to go
like
through?
you're like I'm sitting here like yo, like this is it. Like I always that blows my mind about
Right.
suicide. And again,
But you lose the perspective. I guess in that moment, they lose the perspective of it's easy for me right now. It's gonna be done.
come on.
But everybody who I left behind, who I felt like didn't care about me, who actually did,
Yeah,
it's hardest for those fucking people.
man.
Hardest for those people, and that's where it becomes a selfish thing. And that anytime that's crossed my mind, it's always been that thing that what you said.
Yeah.
I thought about my kids. I thought about them having to deal with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
How did your dad die? Oh, your dad didn't love you. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I didn't do it. But at this time, I'm broken. But
yeah,
that pastor telling me that stuff out of nowhere,
Yeah.
kind of gave me that little like, all right, maybe
Yeah.
there is something.
yeah,
So remember, I prayed that prayer. I think like the next 2 days, I'm sitting on my couch. A red bird flies into my sliding door
oh shit.
and falls. And I'm like,
Here's your fucking red bird.
Breaks his right leg.
And then you start convulsing. So that was a shimmy.
hey, so the bird hits the thing, and I'm like, I hear it, and I'm like, I look, and I see the bird on the floor, and then the bird's like, gets up, looks, flies. And it was like little things like that just kept
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
Well, that leg that was sitting in the closet, one day this guy reaches out to me on Facebook. And again, I've been doing skits and stuff at this time. And he's like, hey, bro, I work for a prosthetic company out here in Houston. And if you can make it over here, I'll build you a leg. I was like, what? I was like, bro, I got a foot that's sitting in the closet. And he's
Right.
like, well, bring it. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
That foot ended up being on the leg that he built me.
Really?
Because the foot is the most expensive thing on the prosthetic.
Oh, really?
That is the most.
Oh, shit.
But this was like this was like a damn mannequin. It didn't bend. It didn't do nothing. But it was crazy that foot was my same size, my same right side, ended up becoming my leg. So that leg I had for 6 months. And then at this time, I'm still going to church. I'm still like, at this time, I'm like, yo, hey, I'm in it, God. Like,
Right.
what, you tell me what you need me to do. Hey, let's do it.
Right.
I start going to my friend's house because, again, he posted on Snap that he had some fire weed. And I'm like, damn, look at that. I'm like, damn, that's just some fire. I'm like, yo, you sell it? He's like, yeah, come by.
Right.
So I start going by. We start smoking every day. Start just chilling. He would get off of work. I'm at the house all day. As soon as my girl came home and hey, I got the kids, man, babe, I gotta go. Like I go over there, smoke with him. Well, during that time that I was over there smoking with him, his son was playing football at the time and ended up getting hurt during football practice. They tackled him and his ankle like twisted. He comes into the house and he's like limping. I'm like, hey, you all right? He's like, yeah, the football practice. And he goes to the room. I'm going every day, still going over there. We're matching. We're just smoking, just getting high till like 2 o'clock in the morning. About maybe like a month later, I get another call. And again, I had been going to his house at this time. And his mom calls me and they're like, hey, little Brian, and they ended up finding out Brian had cancer in his leg because it wouldn't heal. But they thought it was a sprain that, like, again, when they tackled him,
Yeah.
they twisted his ankle. So they were like, hey, y'all need to do a cast, or y'all need to do another X-ray.
Right.
So they were like, because again, let's change the boot. Let's put something else on. They did that, and after a while, they were like, man, y'all need to do another X-ray. It's broken. Like, y'all keep saying it's not broken. It's broken. That's what they thought. They go to the hospital. They take the test. They're leaving. They're in the middle of drive-through at McDonald's, and the hospital calls, hey, you got to bring Brian back. He has cancer in his leg. Like, we got to.
Was it bone cancer? Or
it was. He ended up having Ewing sarcoma. So it's
blood.
It's a thing that it attacks like the bones. Like, it gets in your bones.
Yeah.
But he was fortunate to have it in his leg and his ankle.
But he didn't have leg problems, ankle problems
Nothing
before the injury.
Nothing.
So did they think it aggravated it, or was
that was the thing that showed it? It's been there the whole time.
it was there? That's just
this thing
that
happened.
motherfucker that twisted his ankle. God damn it!
And so they ended up going through chemo, and again at this time he's going through chemotherapy. I'm going there because again he was like, man, they want to cut my leg. Like, do we know anybody with a prostate? I just got mine. I'm like, hey. He sees me walking. He's like, dude, like, you're walking good. Like, I'm like, bro, I kept telling him he wasn't going to get his foot cut. I'm like, bro, the cancer's going to, I believe in God. I'm like, bro, God's going to heal you. Like, you good. Don't even worry about it. Like,
No, God's going to try you sometimes.
yeah,
too.
man, listen.
Right.
So, they end up doing the chemo rounds. While he was doing his chemo, he had a break, like a 2-week break. Well, during the break, his dad ended up having a company party at Fiesta, Texas. So they were like, hey, you want to go? Like, we're gonna take Brian. He's been in chemo. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So we go out there all day. Well, the leg that dude made me was like a basic makeshift leg. It was like, hey. Like, you can't do too much in this thing.
Shit.
Like, don't go all crazy. Well, I had the leg for like 6 months, 7 months.
Right.
I'm at Six Flags and we're doing our thing. We're pushing him around. He's going on the rides. And, man, my leg starts cracking there. And I'm like, oh, man, like, hey, hey, we got to go. Like, it's time. Like, I was like, man, I don't want to push it no more. We get to the house. We drop off all the kids. We get to the house. And I take my leg off. And my leg is literally sitting like this and then falls on carpet. And my whole leg shatters.
Oh,
like,
shit. Like the foot part?
No, this part.
The leg
upper
part.
part.
So
Okay.
this is made out of carbon fiber.
Okay.
Excuse me. Same thing that the cars are made out of.
Got you.
But the one that I had was this
Right.
plastic, straight up see-through plastic.
So that's what broke?
That's what broke. So this thing is what holds it on.
Yeah.
So the leg breaks. I end up going to my boy's house that night. And again, we're smoking. And I show up on crutches. And he's like, the hell you doing? I'm like, bro, my leg broke. Like, he's like, nah. He's like, I broke my leg.
No. You don't have one.
Yeah, it's gone. No, I broke the other leg. He's like, what? I'm like, and at this time, again, I didn't even know how I was going to get that leg. I stumbled onto that one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in my head, I was already like, we were there sitting, we are smoking, and I was like, well, little Brian was hearing the conversation. He was off in the distance.
Oh, shit.
Well, the news had been wanting to do stories on little Brian and his story, like, hey, you're going through cancer. Like, he's like, he don't want none of that stuff. He's like, I don't want none of that. Well, he used that to call the news and basically tell the news if they can help me to get a foot because I didn't have money to get a foot.
Wow.
And so they call me and they're like, hey, at this time, I'm already at the house 3 days.
How old was he?
10 years old.
Wow.
I'm at the house for 3 days already. I got slow jams on top of slow jams. I'm crying. I got the blinds covered. I'm just like, man, fuck this. Like, and I'm telling God the whole time, like, why would you let me go through this? Like, man, why? Like,
Yeah.
I just got back walking. Like, why?
I believe in you now.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I've been going to church. Like, I think at this time.
Your mama was a whore.
It was like, yeah. It was like 9 months at the time. And again, I kept telling God, like, yo, you said if I go there for a year,
Right.
it's been fucking, it's been this long. It's been 8 months, 9 months. Well, my leg breaks. I'm sitting at the house for 3 days. I get a call from Brian's mom. And Brian's mom's like, hey, Mike, the news wants to do a story on Brian, but Brian's nervous. And if you knew Brian, you know he's kind of shy. So he's like, he's kind of nervous and he wants you to be in the interview if you'll come. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go. I'm not going to be on camera. And they're like, yeah, no, you're good. So I get there As soon as I get there, they open up the door, the cameras come out.
Yeah.
Do you think it was like Joey Greco on Cheaters or something?
At this time, I was living good. I was living right, so I knew it was nothing, nothing crazy. And they come out and they're like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, hey, Brian, you want to tell them why we're here? And he's like, hey, I called the news to help you get
I
a
called
product.
the cops in here.
He's like,
dealing, bro.
He's like, I called the news to help you get a leg. And I'm like,
damn.
what? And so they run 4 stories on me. It goes all over San Antonio, KSAT 12, KENS 5, Fox 20. I mean, it goes everywhere. And
you ain't watching TV at this time.
I still ain't watching TV at this time. And so the news goes. I mean, the story goes everywhere. Well, I kept telling the news people, like, please don't, like, I appreciate the help, but don't run my story. Like,
Yeah.
I was a fool. I used to be like, F the cops, like all this. Like,
Right. There's a reason that's happened.
I don't want to mess his story up. And they were like, no, it's about what you're doing. It's not about who you were.
Yeah.
They ran that story.
Yeah.
And people were emailing the news talking about, do you know that guy is a drug dealer? Do you know? And the news lady called me and she's like, you were right. And I said, I told you. She's like, she goes, the news wanted to pull the story. She goes, but I talked to my supervisor.
Brian doesn't know that. That's the key right there. The story wasn't about Mike. The story wasn't about who Mike was before what happened to Mike happened to Mike. It was about Brian, and they missed that shit. How special that kid was to put his cancer aside and not judge anybody by their past, whether he knew it or not.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
But he's 10 years old, and he has the wisdom and the empathy to say, no, you know what? I passed.
10
I'm
years
gonna pass.
old.
I'm going to pass. And
Yeah,
I want
bro.
my friend to get some help.
I always tell all of my friends, like, once you have a baby, once you have a kid in general, they don't know any version of you previously to when they were fucking born. That is fucking beautiful. And that's why I like being a dad, because they don't know me from 10 years ago.
Oh, don't worry. I want to tell them the story.
Yeah, they'll hear it eventually.
Your
but
dad was a piece of shit.
Hey, but as kids, they just fucking admire you.
I'm going to send
man.
them the link.
You ain't lying, bro. you. I mean, for real, it does something to you. And again, like for me, it took a long time to realize that, because I couldn't get out of my own way. But let me get back to the story. So it goes. They're calling the news that they want to pull it, and she was like, "Look, I told the news, like, you were up front, like you kept telling us not to post it." And she goes, "We're gonna leave." My supervisor said to leave it up, and I'm like, "Bet, I appreciate it, but man, I told you." So all these prosthetic companies reached out to me, and I ended up choosing the company to build my leg. Well, while I was in there, they offered me a job. They were like, "Hey, do you want to help, like, talk to amputees and stuff like that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Look, they built the leg. They basically gave me the leg for free, and they were like, "Look, we'll be ready in about 6 months." Right. I was like, "Bet, like, I'm cool. I've been here 2 years. Like, I got another 6 months." So I'm leaving there. I'm driving home, and I get a call from one of my friends that seen me on the news, and he was like, "Hey, bro, did you get a leg?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro, my boss, he works for a prosthetic company." He's like, "Bro, my boss," I showed him the story. "My boss wants to meet you. Like, you got a job?" And I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Take the meeting." I'm like, "All right." He's like, "Hey, Papados in about an hour." I'm like, "All right." I just got the leg. I just left this other company. And so I get home, I get dressed, I go to the thing, and the owner to the prosthetic company was like, "Hey, tell me about yourself." And I tell him, and he's like, he's just asking me questions, and he's like, "Bet." He goes, "Man, I might have a position for you. Give me your email. I'll send you over what is it? The
application?
No, not the like a
offer sheet.
Offer sheet. He goes, "I'll send you an offer," and I'm like, "All right, bet." Man, I got this offer. It was making money. I ain't, I made it in dope money, but I ain't never made money like this. And I'm like. And so I was like, one thing that I haven't told him yet was I was a convicted felon. I was like, man, like, and he's like super, super white. He's not one of us. He's on the other side. And so I call him and I'm like, "Hey, I just got that offer letter. Like, that's for
What
me."
you mean us?
What do you mean by that?
You people.
Hey. So he's like, I was like, "Man, I got to tell you something. Like, man, this is dope. I accept, but man, I got a felony on my record." He's like, And he's like, hey, give me a second. Let me call you right back. And I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, he calls his partner and
Start cussing that guy
yeah,
again.
And I'm sitting there and I tell my girl and I'm like, man, babe, like she's like, if it's not meant to be, it ain't meant to be. And I'm like,
Right.
all right, bet. He calls me back like 5 minutes later. He's like, let me ask you a question. He goes, are you still that guy? And I said, no. And he goes, then I don't care about it. I don't need to do a background check. I don't need to see what it is. Let's go. Show up to work on Monday. I said, bet. I go to work and I mean,
That's a leader.
the owner to the company, like he's not some sell, you know, he's the owner.
Yeah, the buck stops at him.
He's the one that was like showing me. So basically, what my job is to convince people to cut their leg off whenever the doctor is like,
Oh wow.
the doctor's like, yo, there's nothing else we can do.
Right.
They'll bring me in to
Yeah.
explain what it's like to be an amputee, explain the prosthetic side, and I mean that's literally my job now to go and do that. And
That's your job now?
that's my job now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking
We
better.
could talk all day about that, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
the stories of like people.
Oh yeah, man.
Their stories.
Man, listen. My oldest patient is 85. My youngest is 7. I've seen it. I mean, trauma, cancer, diabetes. I mean, you name it. I've seen it. I just helped a Comal County sheriff. He was doing a raid. He kicked in the door.
His leg went through?
No.
It broke while he was kicking it.
His partner kicked in the door. He was the second one in. There was a guy on the other side sitting on the couch and shot at him, blew his arm off with a shotgun. And so the officer falls back. He grabs his hand,
Yeah.
gets up, and then starts running. And he was like, "Man, I was in shock. Like all of this is gone, and it's just like a piece of meat holding on to his wrist." And he's like,
What do you tell him? It could be your leg.
I told him all
Sorry,
the time.
I'm a leg guy. I'm not an arm guy.
I tell him all the time. Like I was like, man. Again, for me, the prosthetic hand is. I mean, the intricacies of it is crazy. I mean,
That's true too.
So the hands are more expensive than
They
the
gotta
legs?
be.
right?
The
gotta be.
hand is almost like $100K.
So if you have insurance, is that something like a deductible simple thing, or is that something like
So you have to
insurance is only gonna
meet. You
pay?
have to meet your.
You're out of pocket.
You're out of pocket. You
Right.
got to meet that, and
Right.
then you got to pay your deductible.
and then they'll pay for it.
And then
a
they'll
lot
pay
of
for
times.
it.
Okay.
But some insurance companies don't pay for prosthetics.
Does it depend on circumstances?
No, I mean
No?
you have to get an insurance company that will pay for. It's called DME.
Like how you lost they're like, how'd you lose it?
Oh no, that doesn't.
They consider the equipment. They don't consider like.
Yeah, no, they don't consider.
Oh,
yeah.
really? It's like medical equipment.
Yeah, so it's like a walker or a cane.
Yeah.
So my job now at the company, again, since I've been there, we do things. Again, I'm from the hood. I need help. So since we've been there, we've implemented a layaway plan. Basically, where
Nice.
somebody doesn't have insurance, they can come into the company, and again, we'll build them a leg for. Again, it depends on if they have their knee or they don't. It's AK or BK, below the knee or above the knee. Depending on that, they can pay half up front, and then the other half is broken down into payments, just so they can get back up to work. And again, that's from,
And they get the leg.
Yeah.
In the meantime, until they
and again, it's like $2,000 to.
So I gotta ask. So like, if they don't pay, do you go in there and take the leg?
And you know what's crazy is I actually have a thing that's called Rent-A-Leg that is like that. That is basically you don't pay the leg, we come back and get it. But that's like a skit that I'm working on or whatever. But
okay.
I thought it was a side company he started. He was like,
Like shit, you all over the prosthetic business.
the
No,
legs he
fucking
found in
hype.
the dumpster.
But
Tanya
again-
Harding, if you're looking for a job, Tanya Harding, we got you.
Hit us
Bring
up.
the crowbar, baby.
Has any of your managers just went and told you, hey, Mike, you can't tell these people that? Like, have you said anything out of pocket?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, all the time. And again, for me, like I've had patients, and again, I hate to brag on myself, but in this job, whenever I get patients, that's me.
Right.
That like if
Yeah.
you're 65 years old and you got one leg, you're me.
Right.
I'm trying to get to 65 with one leg.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these patients, bro, I see some patients that literally lose their leg and they lose everything. Like It's my job to, again, call these patients every week to make sure, hey, how you doing? Hey, have you healed? When's your next appointment? What did the doctor say? And I just type all of this into my computer.
Do you stay with them for a period of time, or do you stay with them through a threshold? Like, okay, they've met these benchmarks, they're good.
So the ones once I see that you're able to get it, like you got it, you don't need my help, I'll back off and I'll let you.
But that's your judgment.
Yeah, but that's mine. Yeah, that's mine. And so again, for me, I'm talking to these patients. I know their life.
Yeah.
I have some patients that call me in the middle of the night and they're like, "Yo, bro, I'm about to be intimate for the first time. Like, how did you do it where you're not embarrassed?" And I'm like, bro, like you
let's
just
talk
get
about it.
I'm like, get in there, like
Get your ass in there.
What else are you gonna do? Like, don't be
FaceTime me real quick. I'll show you. I'll walk you through it.
But I'm like,
Don't use that.
but I'm like, I'm like, for me, I'm like, bro, that's your wife. Like, they've seen you, like they've seen your leg get cut off. Like,
Yeah, right. But maybe as a single man, you know, that's the first time I'm hooking up with this chick.
No, for sure. And again, I get those, but I get those questions. I get the, hey, Mike, how much longer did, like, again, the ones that don't got money to pay for a leg, we got to go through a foundation. Now the foundation is a year wait. You fill out that application, you're waiting a year to get a prosthetic leg.
And you're dealing with losing a leg.
And you're dealing with your whole life changing.
Right.
Now I'm calling you, hey, how are you doing? Oh, man, I just lost my job. Mike, when am I going to get the leg? Like, have you heard anything? I'm like, man. And again, I'm hearing your whole story. I know everything about you. And at the same time, it's my job to figure out who's going to pay for your leg since you can't pay it.
Do you have an opinion on this? The cost of legs?
Yes.
Do you have knowledge that it costs that much to make these legs?
It costs that much because, again, the guys
R&D?
The guys who build the prosthetics, they go to school for 8 years.
Right.
So you're basically a damn doctor. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Their salary is high. The prices of equipment, it's like Advil. You go to a damn hospital, you're gonna pay $20 for an Advil when, again, I could have got that shit from the corner store.
Also, too, it's custom work, right? Like
everything is
custom's
custom.
gonna be more expensive.
Everything.
And not everybody's losing a leg, right? So there's not a high demand for it. Or San Antonio is big.
We're full of diabetics, bro.
So you got a job security then.
Oh man, I mean, again, diabetes is our number one thing. Like, again, some of these patients will literally get up in the middle of the night and bump their toe on the corner of the couch.
Right.
The next day, it's infected. The whole leg has to go.
That's how they find out.
That's how they find out.
Yeah, the infection won't go away.
Oh man, I just hit my toe and it hasn't healed, but I've been putting peroxide and everything on there. Next thing you know, it looks good on the outside, but the inside is all infected.
Rotted.
And so again, I never thought that diabetes was that bad. I'm like, diabetic. Man,
drink water.
Yeah. and so for me, again, on the prices like that, it is expensive. But again, it's what we get the cost at, and then everybody else, you build it, you have to get paid. These people got to get paid. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy.
Damn. Man, so like when people go through shit, right after you go through that shit and you have this, like, shit starts getting better and you have this purpose for going through that shit, you for a little bit of time you remember, like, oh, I went through that, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah. Right.
And then after a while, you know, when not anything like what you've been through, right? But then after a while, I think humans, we tend to, like, forget about that, right?
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
It's like, then something happens to us, not as bad as that, and we're like, oh, this is the worst ever, right?
Come on.
You've been through something that most people, like, that shit will end people.
Oh, I've seen it.
I know it.
So do you think because you see it all the time, it kind of keeps your perspective, like you're still kind of there but not there anymore?
That might be a better question.
I think that is the thing that I struggle with the most, because why me? I was a piece of shit.
Yeah, why did you live?
Why?
Yeah.
Why me? You chose me. Like, you've seen the things I've done, God, and you chose me?
It's the it factor.
And
it's what we talked about on the last episode, man.
It's still
some
being
people
cut.
have it. This is still being cut. It actually finished exporting. I can upload it right now while we're doing the podcast if you want to keep talking shit. No.
Just to prove you wrong. But I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna like.
You're very charismatic, and you bring like an energy to you. You get people. You're like a magnet to people, like in general.
I mean, you got to think of like you went your whole life, you lived your life, you developed a certain way, and at some point, maybe whether you believe in God or not, God said, "Hey, you know what? This guy's onto something here. He's got something going.
Yeah.
I can use that." And he waited to the moment where he knew he could bring you in, and said, "Hey, you're good now. I'm going to take care of you because I can use you for something."
Yeah, but if you had no personality, God would be like, get him out
No,
of here on that fight, brother. Get him out.
Hey, you ain't nothing. No,
What do you say about my mama?
And
Close his case,
Throw out
and
that
end his
leg.
life.
And you know what is crazy about that is again, I talk to people and I tell people every chance that I get, I tell people my story because it still humbles me and blows my mind that again, I thought I was gonna be in the wheelchair the rest of my life. If you would have told me when I was getting out of prison in 2014, hey, in a couple of years you're gonna lose your leg,
Right.
but you're gonna, and then now I'm a lead speaker for a juvenile detention program.
Yeah.
Like
But you're gonna turn that into something.
Oh man,
You know what I mean?
it already is. So and I tell people all the time, like people are like, man, I don't got a cool story like that. And I'm like, yeah, but your story is your story.
Exactly.
And again, you were not made to have one leg.
Right. And people tell me that about my life, and I'm thinking about my life like, I ain't got shit to say about it.
I ain't got nothing. Like,
but it's everybody is their own story in their own perspective, and
everybody.
But everybody's got a story to tell. Can you tell it or not? Right? Is the thing is, can you tell it or not, or are you just wallowing in the fact that you ain't got an interesting enough story? What I was gonna ask was that like, have you ever find yourself like in traffic being like, this is the worst day ever?
And again, you catch me on the wrong day, I'm gonna go upside your head. Believe me.
But I get that, right? Because the hood don't leave.
No, it don't.
Right, but
it don't.
But do you catch yourself thinking like you're in traffic and you're like gonna be late and you're like, fuck, this is the worst day ever?
Oh, definitely.
Losing the perspective of you've had your worst day ever.
Definitely.
For miles and miles beyond
and
many people's
and
worst
again
day ever.
that's also me
being human.
Living again. I've been working at this company now for 3.5 years.
Yeah, seeing all that.
I've never had a job this long in my life. I think the longest job I've ever had was like 6 months.
How long you said you've been there?
3.5 years.
Nice.
First time. I mean, I've ever had a job like this. And again,
They pay you to wear their sweaters?
yeah. I'm sponsored by
I don't
them,
know
like-
if you want to say it on this podcast.
No, hey,
Yeah, you may want to
Watch
turn that
this
inside out.
episode. Don't go to the other ones.
Absolutions. If you need a leg, call me.
100%, man.
But no, they're like, Mike, you put out your and again, what's so crazy is that I got a company that is literally, I'm the face of the company, and they're like literally like, you tell us what we need,
Right.
and hey, Mike, get your story out. Let's push it. That needs to be told.
It's part of it.
And again, it's crazy. So remember, I always told God that what did I need? What remember? The
Leg.
You needed a sign.
You needed a sign with the red
the
bird.
red
the
bird.
red bird. So check
And
this out.
and the feather to fall.
So I have
and
been
you
praying.
catch it.
I have been praying for this prayer for 3.5
I need you to airdrop these to
for
me.
3.5 years.
I got you, man. I got you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I always. Oh my goodness. I can't even explain it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
What are you doing to the bird?
He's just tripping on how he
No
could keep
way.
his beanie on his head.
And left me all these.
Damn.
That's crazy.
So, is that the one that ran into the screen?
No,
that was a different bird?
This was a different one. This was 3.5 years later. This was last year.
Oh, this was last year.
And so again, I was working. I was out in Johnson City. I was gonna come back, and I was like, man, by the time I get back to 281, it's gonna be traffic. It's like 4:30. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go to the park. I'm gonna go smoke real fast, and I'm gonna dip. I go to the park, and there was like a family right there with kids and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna walk more down. They have these little houses where you can sit and just look at nature. And I go in there, and when I go in there, the red bird is sitting right there.
Wow.
And I'm like, literally like, again, I've been praying this prayer for 3.5 years. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, no way. Yeah. Like there's no way. I walk up to the bird, get the bird. I'm holding, that's when you see me, oh my God. I sit down and he flies away. When he flies away, he left me 12 red feathers in my hand. Like in my hand. Bro, after that I was like, I can't even question you no more. Like, how do you explain that? How do you, that ain't no coincidence. And again, like I tell people, hey, sometimes it sounds crazy to some people and I'm fine with it. But I know that I couldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for God. Like all the bad shit that I've ever done, everything that landed me in prison has now helped me mentor these kids who just got caught with a felony and help them not get a record. Everything that I did drinking and driving has made me help people. I've probably helped over like 120 people get legs since I've been there. Like it blows my mind. And again,
do y'all have races?
What do you mean?
Like prosthetic races?
No, but we need to put one together.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
Actually, I'm actually gonna call my boy out because my boy.
Fiesta, Texas.
Yes, Texas.
Yeah.
As matter of
Call
fact,
it break a leg race.
I raced little Brian when because again after I got the job, little Brian got amputated 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
Ended up losing his leg. I ended up giving him back a leg, and we ended up racing, and he beat
Leg
me.
for a leg.
Leg for a leg.
How's he doing?
Man, he's cancer free. He's been cancer free for 3 years. I mean, this kid doesn't even look the same. I mean, this kid is. I mean, his life has literally just. I mean, went up since then, and it's crazy to see for real.
That's badass.
Yeah.
He's hitting puberty soon, so you're gonna get that call, Mike.
Oh man,
Mike, how do I do it, Mike?
No, Brian, don't do it.
Don't use it.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I get crazy questions, bro. Like,
Have you had a girl ask you to use one yet?
Yeah, I have. I have.
Sick.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that I mean that
There's a whole fetish around that.
that is actually a thing. That is actually
Really?
I mean seriously, like I have girls that come up to me all the time and they're like, man,
Yeah.
that leg is sexy. I'm like, what? Like you're
Oh,
tripping.
shit.
Like yeah, for real, it's crazy.
Is it because you're wearing your going out leg? It's like blinged out. It's got like some rhinestones on it.
Is there like a secret community on Instagram with everybody with prosthetic legs? Like,
check
look at this motherfucking leg,
Check
bro.
your neighborhood Facebook. I'm sure they got one.
Yeah,
I'm sure they have a
I'm
group.
sure they have it on the app.
I'm
but,
sure they have a group. What about Phantom?
Oh man,
feelings? You still
my toes are moving right now.
Really?
Yeah, hell yeah, all the time. And again, what the craziest thing about it is when you're asleep.
yeah.
When you're asleep and then your foot moves,
Yeah.
it's like it literally again.
And
Remember,
you feel like you think the
I mean, but remember it's like a lizard. You cut the tail's still moving. It's the same thing with your foot. They just cut. They don't solder off nothing.
the brain connections
All
or whatever.
all your nerves and everything are still there. They just cut, and now your foot is like, hey, where's this?
I'm still sending this fucking thing over here. Like your brain is like I'm still sending the signals.
It is.
I'm still sending
it
the
is,
signals.
and it's crazy because there's some days that they call it phantom pain, but most of the time for me it doesn't hurt. But there is times where again my ankle is hurting and I can't even I can't hold
You're
it.
like it's the weather.
There's nothing there for me to hold, and it's like, man, that thing is hurting.
So do you ever get up and forget you have a leg and just fall over?
Twice. I've done it twice, and again,
Were you drunk?
No. I was literally sober, waking up in the morning, getting up, and then again you
thought you.
But for me, even wearing the prosthetic now feels so like it feels like it's a part of my body that I mean, even when I'm walking in it just feels like it's normal. It's not it's not something that's weird to me. It's crazy.
But it's not uncomfortable to where it's like, man, I can't, like it itches and I can't scratch that
but
shit.
then and again, that is the most important part of the prosthetic. If you don't get this right, if this does not fit your body right, it doesn't matter what kind of leg we get you.
Yeah.
This thing is gonna hurt. and you won't even be able to walk in it.
Well, it's like wearing the wrong size shoes. Like,
Yeah.
you fuck up your feet, so it's got to be the same.
And remember, now you have a bone that looks like this, and that is in this carbon fiber thing. That now, if it doesn't fit, your bone is just
knocking on it.
It's just scraping. And again, it's called bottoming out, meaning you go all the way to the bottom.
Oh, I've done that. No, I'm kidding.
I've done that twice. But no, I mean, it's...
I'll try anything once.
Yeah. And what's crazy for me is this prosthetic world is like, it's nitty gritty.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean...
Shit.
It is nitty.
It's cutthroat?
Yeah, it's cutthroat. Like, you ever heard of the ambulance chasers type thing? Same thing with prosthetics. Right? Prosthetics are expensive. They're not cheap. So, I mean, again, anybody who wants to try to get
Well, you're getting paid the best money of your life, so they got to be charging.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
But how so? Wait, what's the equal to an ambulance chaser?
So the ambulance chaser, again, like these ambulance that are just out in the community, like the Arcadian and all these little ones.
Right.
They hear a call, boom, they can show up over there, and again, it's just like, oh, hey, we were first on the scene. We're gonna take them. Like, yeah, and they take you. Now your insurance.
Got you. So the prosthetic companies are fucking hawks.
Man, what? I've been there talking to a patient in the room, and you got another prosthetic company who found out.
So it's like that meme where you're talking to them and you're looking back like that?
Hold on.
Yeah, for real.
Hold on. Okay.
What happened?
Man, because I'm thinking about, like, and this is a hard question to ask, because it's like, how many of these doctors are advocating for somebody to get their fucking leg cut off and don't really need to, but the prosthetic companies are in their pockets, right? Because I mean, we know
so like the doctors that I work with, they work at the hospitals and they do it like that. So the doctor doesn't need. The doctor cuts your leg. He doesn't give a damn where you go. He doesn't. Dude, I cut your leg. I'm not worried about your.
Like he's not getting any kickbacks.
Yeah,
I'm not telling you need to go to
And so for me,
whatever solutions.
What my job is my job is to find these doctors and go in front of them and explain to them why it's important that when you cut your patient's leg off,
you need to set them up.
That they have a prosthetic company that even if they don't choose us, because they don't have to come with us,
right?
But you come over here, you're going to get the best service. And again, for me, as an amputee, walking with another amputee and explaining it how it is, they usually stay with our company.
Do other companies send spokespersons like you?
Those are lobbyists.
Yeah.
Like, is there a clique too? Like, do you have the real amputees that go in and sell versus the people who aren't amputees and y'all like beef with each other?
You got 2 legs.
Oh, there's people that have 2 legs and they go. And again, for me,
And then y'all fight like Ron Burgundy.
you don't know what he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He doesn't know what it's like to
Mike's
be.
there.
He doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's literally it's crazy. And again, for me, it's like you're me. You got a prosthetic, like, and most of the times when you get your leg cut off, you're in that bed thinking, I'm never gonna be the same. And for me, I walk in the room and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they don't even see my leg. And then by the time I tell them, hey, I'm from the prosthetic company, like I got a prosthetic leg too, they're like, let me see.
Do you really go dancing in there? Like you got the theme music going and you start dancing in there?
I pump myself up, yeah, for sure.
DJ Mike G in the house. How's your day going?
And again, some days are harder than others because when you're going through your shit, and then now you have to go. Now you have to go and convince somebody that you're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're like, I'm not.
And you're just going through it at home, and you're
going through it at home,
frustrated and stressed out.
And for me, my job is not physical. It's not physical at all. Again, I literally get paid to help people get legs and go eat with doctors, have lunch, and just kick it with them and see what's going on.
But I feel like I might be wrong, but I feel like you might be good at detaching yourself from their pain, from their
no pun intended.
Not, I mean, you can. Oh shit!
Detached.
Damn, Bean.
What an asshole!
You can amputate your feelings.
I didn't have a real question there. I just had the fucking joke.
Your feelings.
No, but you know, because for me, I attach myself to people's feelings. Like as a manager, as a leader of people, like a lot of times I put myself in people's feelings. I put people's shoes, and fuck, there goes another pun, right?
I put both of their feet on.
But I'm always like, I'm exhausted, right? Because I'm like, fuck, I feel what they're going through, even though I've maybe never been through it, right?
It's a mental exhaustion.
Are you good at detaching yourself from like not
So
going home with what?
No, I work 24/7, and that's one
true too,
that's
man.
one thing that, because again, if I'm driving down the road and I see an amputee at a bus stop, I'm like, hey bro, you got a leg?
Yeah.
Nah. And again, a lot of times I find people who went to a prosthetic company.
Yeah.
The prosthetic company built them a $40,000 leg.
Yeah.
And the prosthetic company only gets paid for it once. So
Right.
once you get paid, if you come in all these times you need adjustments. You lose.
That's where they need to have software.
You lose 1 pound, you gain a pound.
Right.
This has to be changed.
Really? You have to be
start
calibrated?
You start walking better. This is like a car, and I tell people, you need a tune-up. Again, if you start walking better, everything now. Again, the foot doesn't change; it stays the same. But again, say I start before I was hunching.
Right.
Now I'm walking
You got
straight.
good posture.
It doesn't feel the same. And so your prosthetic companies will build you a leg, let you
Done
go.
with you.
And then I see these people that are amputee. I'm like, hey, you got it? Yeah, I got one. It's been in my closet for like 2 years, and
I
I'm
don't
like,
like it.
I'm like, why? And they're like, because it doesn't. Again, if this thing doesn't fit you right,
Right.
they'll believe that the whole leg, because it hurts. It hurts to walk. And I mean, you're literally walking on bone.
So some people are like, prosthetics don't work. It's not real.
And again, it's
got
not
the
that.
wrong
And so
one.
for me, being at the company, I'm sitting in the room when the patient is getting the thing, and they're
It's
like,
gotta be the shoes.
is this supposed to feel like that? I'm like, nah, hold on. Like, let's do another adjustment. Let's change this. And then they're like, oh, okay, that feels better. And again, we want it to feel like it's your leg. It's a part of you. And so I find a lot of people who have a prosthetic leg and it's just been sitting in their closet. Or I get people that call me, hey, my uncle, my mom, you know, she got a leg from this company and they don't want to help her. Like, they just keep telling her, oh, just keep trying to walk on it. Like, how the hell are you going to walk on something that doesn't...
just get used to it.
Yeah, and that's what they say. That's what they say. Oh, you'll it's just like that in the beginning. You'll get used to it. And it's like, nah, hell nah. So for me, it's hard to detach myself because I feel like I'm always working. If I'm at HEB and I see somebody with a leg, and I'm like, I'll walk in front of them and be like, you know, hey, let me get this back.
He turns on his theme music.
And I'm like, oh, you're an amputee too? Like, oh yeah, hey, where'd you? Like, man, how you walk like that? I'm like, man, hey, here's my card. Call me.
Dang, you ain't afraid to talk to
Man,
me.
hell nah. And that's what people are like, man, how you just go up to? I'm like, dude, that's me.
Oh, I sold drugs. I can sell legs.
And that's what I told my company. I told my boss, like, I said, man, look, I come from the streets where I have a product that I cannot promote.
Right.
Like I can promote this prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that I did selling dope.
Right.
Imagine if I could sell the same amount, but helping people at the same time instead of ruining.
Yeah, you were selling them death before. Now you're
Man.
selling these motherfuckers' lives.
Come on, man.
I respect it, bro.
It's man. I'm telling you, it blows my mind.
Do you ever wait, like when you're coaching these people through it? Like, do you wait to tell them, or do you lead with, I'm straight up, I'm an amputee like you? Or has anybody ever gotten to the point where they're like, yeah, easy for you to say?
Oh yeah, plenty.
And then you're like, easy for me to
like,
say.
I'm like,
Hold up.
Yeah, for sure. And then again, a lot of times when I come in, they're sitting down in the bed, they're hooked up to these IVs, and again, I just walk in. Like I walk in fast. I get the chair, and I'm, you know, hey, how you doing? I'm from the prosthetic company, and you can see, and I'm like, hey, look, I'm an amputee too. But,
So part of them is like, oh, it's a salesman.
oh yeah, for sure. Because again, you have some salesmen that don't have they're not missing a leg, and so they're in there, and you're like, dude, how the fuck do you know what it's like to be an amputee?
So you got to break through, convincing them to go through with it a lot of the times, right? While they're looking at you as you're a fucking salesman. You're trying to convince me so that I could buy your fucking leg.
Yeah. I'm trying to convince you to cut your leg.
And right now I'm fucked off in the head because I don't even know where life is going right now because
Matter of fact, just today, so we were eating at Bill Miller's today, me and my coworkers, and we went to Bill Miller's, and again, I leave my pant leg up because I don't give a damn. I want to show you the leg.
Yeah.
So I'm in Bill Miller's and I see this again. I was in prison. I'm from the streets. You can tell when somebody's talking or looking at you. And I seen this older couple, and they were looking at me and they're like, man, look at him. So I'm sitting down and I'm eating. I didn't pay no attention to it. Well, like 20 minutes later, after I'm done eating, the guy comes up to me just today, and he's crying and he's like, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he's like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm like, man, the prosthetics, the way they make them.
I love my barbecue.
With a fork?
I like jalapenos. And so he's like, and he showed me his leg, and his leg, he was working at Saul's, and they were like grinding like the ground, like digging with that little thing, and his leg got caught. But the guy that was doing it turned on the machine when they weren't supposed to.
Dude.
So Saul's is at fault for it. And so he was like, they want to cut my leg, but I'm scared. And he's like,
Oh, he still had it?
yeah, he still had it. And he's like, I'm looking at you. And his wife comes up to me. She's like, sir, how do you walk like that? Like, man, my husband. And so we started talking. And you could tell he's dealing with the depression of, I'll never be the same, because he's like, I can't walk. And then you see me and I'm walking around and he's like,
yeah,
what? And I'm like, bro, like, if you want my honest opinion, bro, cut it off.
Yeah.
Cut it off, get rid of the problem, and let's get you moving. Like, and I tell everybody, the thing that you have to decide for yourself is the way you're living right now and the way you've been living with your condition.
Right.
Can you go like that another 2 years?
Yeah.
And if you can't, then you need to cut your leg.
I mean,
I almost feel like the Grim Reaper of the foot.
That's an analogy for everything, right?
No, it is
an analogy for everything.
No, and that's the crazy part about it is that there's some stuff that I need to cut off.
True.
And it's hard to make that decision to say,
yeah,
I'm gonna amputate it.
Oh, you're still human. No shit.
Yeah.
My G.
Yeah.
All the shit you've been through.
Man.
You gave up on God. You went back to God. You found God.
He's
God
actually a
got you.
cyborg.
And you're still a fucking human.
That's what you're doing your forehead. You look up the definition of a cyborg.
He's like, yeah, that's the word.
You know, that's one of my biggest questions, though. Like, right, because
Bro, we're all gonna be cyborgs one day, according to Elon.
Yeah, man.
you know it, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's you overcame some of the fucking worst, man.
But it
And you did it to yourself.
no, 100%.
But you overcame it. And a motherfucker a lot of times won't.
The comeback story, bro.
Hey, and you know what is crazy is that I still feel that I'm still far. So I know me better than I know the shit that I deal with and I struggle with.
Yeah.
And even though you're telling me, hey, you're a good guy, I still know that I flicked off this old lady earlier in traffic. You know what I mean?
But did she
That's what I was trying to get to.
She wasn't moving.
That's what I was trying to get to, is that you're still human.
I'm still
You overcame that, but what is that, 8 years ago? When it first happened?
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
I got out of prison 8 years ago.
You've been without a leg for only 5 years.
5 years only. I've been without a leg for 5 years, and I've had a leg for 3.5.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. But see, I mean, and still, like but you overcame that, and you could be like, God took care of me, and now I don't have a fucking problem in the world. And that's what most people would think. Like, you overcame that. There's nothing that's gonna bother you now.
Oh,
but
no.
that ain't true,
That
baby.
ain't
Because
true.
we're
Hell
always
no.
fucking human at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And you overcame that. You had to learn some lessons, right? So you won't fuck up anymore, right?
Oh, no,
no fucking way.
Yeah, no,
Right?
not like
So,
that.
Can I ask about and you don't have to? We don't have to go into this, but your wife. You mentioned your wife.
Yeah.
When you got into the accident, through everything you were doing at the time to yourself and to your family,
Man.
she stuck with you through those things.
And again, now we're separated, and that for me, that's the hardest thing, because when you're going through and again, for me, I used to be this drug dealer, this party nightlife person, and now I'm switching to a family person.
Right.
And I'm not comfortable in this party scene, but I'm not comfortable being a family man.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle. And so again, a lot of the things that I couldn't overcome
Sure.
fucked up our relationship.
Yeah.
And again, when she was there holding it down and waiting, again, I can only imagine how much stress was on her because I wasn't the one paying the bills. I wasn't the one doing all that. She was. And then again, when it ends up coming back to, full circle on, man, now I'm not disabled no more. Now I'm able to get up. Now I'm able to help pay the bills. Now I'm able to do this. And it was just a different life that, again, we kind of grew apart, but we went through so much shit that kind of like tore everything apart. Yeah. We're still kind of working out all things, but again, for me, it's still the pride. Like, man, I ain't trying to get that 100%. Shit. Like,
I mean, still a man.
Yeah,
don't you feel like she deserves it?
No, 100%. She does, but I know.
But you ain't gonna tell her.
No, I tell her all the time.
That's a bitch.
But I know me, and I know she deserves better than me. Even and it sucks to
the current you. You know who you are right now, and who you were, and what you've done to her, right?
Yeah, and man. And again, for me, like
I think what she wants to see is who you're gonna become. And
because
that's where you're going.
What's crazy is she lives like I see your girl, and y'all are like the complete opposite. Like,
oh yeah, all day.
And that's the same thing with mine. Mine has never seen drugs until I started bringing them around. Her mom, I mean, they come from a family. Yeah. I come from a broken family. Like it's two different lifestyles. And again, the vision that she had and the vision that I had, it wasn't going together. And again, she was more advanced than I am. Like she's always been telling me like, man, you got to get your life together. I'm like, life's a party. Like,
so the moral is be careful what you wish for, because you got your life together, and she's like, I don't like this anymore.
But he's right though, because with Sandra, the first time she ever saw Lazy do coke, we were at fucking Reptiles, and he just fucking busts it out at the table and does the fucking
man.
Babe, I'm like, what happened? No, babe, I said, what happened?
He's got some narcotics.
Lazy just did some coke. I said,
we're gonna get arrested.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's normal.
Lazy's middle name.
Yeah, just don't bother him.
Yeah.
But why do they call him lazy? He shouldn't be lazy on coke.
He should be up.
He should be going.
I appreciate you talking about that, man. I mean, I didn't know if y'all were still together or not, but I know that it sounds like she's
just trying to shoot his shot at you, bro.
That y'all stuck. No, that y'all stuck.
It's that one podcast all over again.
Most importantly, that she stuck with you. Through some tough times.
And that's where I feel like women are more stronger than men.
Yes.
Because a woman will wait for a man to get out of prison. I mean, I've never seen it. You know what I mean? But you hear about it.
I seen it once, bro. I seen it once with Messi's baby mom, and then the second time he got locked up, she's like, I ain't doing this shit again.
I can't do it no more.
One time was hard. Twice ain't happening.
But
how do you know? Were you with her 24/7? How do you know?
That's true.
But regardless, if she was taking care of the books and writing you and
everything
visits,
else,
it doesn't.
She deserves
the
fuck.
It doesn't matter. Like I did this shit to myself.
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
And so,
now you gotta not have sex while I'm here.
Yeah. And for
man,
me,
I would tell them, do what you do, just don't let me find out about it. Just keep the money in my books and come
Send me
visit
some
me.
vids.
Yeah, send me some pics so I can sell them to the homies.
When I was in prison, I was like, yo, I knew I was by myself. I was a piece of shit before I went in there. I knew nobody was gonna hold me down. I was indigent the whole time. That like you didn't make store. It was rough. But again, I go back to when you get something that you're not prepared for, a lot of times you drop it because you don't know how to carry it. And that is one of the hardest things to know that you dropped something good, and at the same time you're still trying to pick it back up. But at the same time, it's like, man, we done come this far already. Right. Like, it is what it is.
I feel you. I'm
in the boat.
I'm in the fucking boat, bro. And a lot of it is our pride, A lot of it is our pride. A lot of it is the baggage, is how much,
Because you've also know what you've fucking been through. So you know all the bad and...
Yeah, and everyday situations are not just everyday situations, because any little thing can trigger any part of that baggage. When if you're with somebody who you don't have that history with, it's like
you can hide those things,
right?
Yeah,
or it just doesn't come up between y'all because it never. But
how many things do we have in our life that even though we're with somebody who knows us or thinks they know us,
right?
But they don't even know that one thing.
No, yeah, plenty. Like
can we cut this part out? Because
or you want to go into it?
but I
mute the mics.
But I tell everybody, everybody, there's nobody in this world that doesn't have something.
Right.
That if it was posted on the front page of San Antonio Express
Yes.
News,
Right.
you wouldn't be embarrassed of that
Right.
shit.
I mean, who
we
even
need-
reads the Express News anymore?
But
It's on the internet.
for me, I think the trouble is that we go into relationships and we maintain relationships feeling like looking at that person like, no, like you better not have anything bad for me to find out, when you know damn well every single person has something.
So you know what's funny about that? Because it's easier
Miriam does too, bro.
It's easier to
She's
go
fucking
in it.
her fucking
Like-
what is it, Zumba
Y'all are
instructor.
assholes.
Hey, it's girl on girl, so I'm cool with that. So like, you would think logically it's easier to be honest with that, right? You go in there being honest, it's easier, but it's kind of easier to lie.
Man, what?
Oh yeah,
Hell nah.
well, no, I think what you're saying is like, okay, here's a list. Here's all the fucking shit
Yeah.
that I don't want you to find out about me, but here you go.
You know when I realized that I was full of shit is when I actually went to counseling and I was paying these people for me basically not to tell them everything, but to kind of lie and again.
Oh, to play them. Yeah, I'm paying them to play 'em.
not to play them, but for me, I thought like, yeah, it's time to go get healed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm about to go get my, and then
But
I
I'm
get
only
it.
gonna tell them
then
what I
get-
want.
Then I only tell them
Yeah.
what I only tell them like the
And
surface.
they make me feel good about myself.
Makes me feel good about myself, and I'm leaving, and I'm like, I have things that I wrote down, and she's like, "Let me see your journal." I'm like, "Nah, I'll just tell you." And she's like, "All right, go ahead." And then so I'm reading off the thing, but I'll skip those two things.
Yeah.
I'll skip
Yeah.
that thing. And again, I always tell people, for me, I think the biggest thing that I have with my new life that I have now is that I almost felt like I ran from who I was before. And all the people that I've hurt in the past, they still know me as that.
Right.
Eventually, you
People
have
sending
to,
those emails to the news company.
Eventually, you have to go back and you have to go and make right with those people, because if not,
How do you do that?
For me,
Yeah.
it finds its way. And again, like for me, I go off of basically like, man, God, you know that situation. Like again, there's people that I've hurt,
Right.
and I'm like, God, I tell them like, God, one day,
Right.
I want to make that right.
Okay. You wait for your opportunity.
I wait,
Yeah.
and again, what's crazy is I've seen people literally at HEB. I bumped into them after literally like, God, I want to make that right. And there's been times where God will put the person in front of my face, and I literally walk the other way.
Yeah.
Because I'm not ready to.
I'm
say-
already thinking about that motherfucker. I don't want to see
because,
HEB. Like,
because
I wanna make it right with him.
I'm not ready to say I was a
It
piece
was
of
me.
shit.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
But see, that goes back to what I was saying, because that's lying through omission. It's not bold-faced lie, but it's lying through omission. So, but it's if you change that up, and when you come to that moment where you say, okay, I'm ready, you're being honest, and things truly get easier there. I think up front, the honesty is the hard part.
Sure
It's
is.
it's the whatever we want to call it, the withholding information that makes it easy at first, but in the long run, just getting that honesty out there is what basically saves us.
But I think what stops us, and again, that's a good point, but I think what stops us is if we're always thinking like, it's going to be the worst. We think of the worst outcome.
Or they're gonna use it against us.
Or they're going to use it against
Right.
us. And at the same time, well, what if they don't accept my apology?
Right.
And what if they say, oh, no, hey, fuck you. Like, again.
Yeah. What are you gonna come back with after that?
and-
I know all that growth.
Yeah,
Fuck this
yeah.
shit.
And you know what is so crazy is that I've actually had people tell me, "Oh, you used to beat my ass. You used to slap me upside my fucking head.
Right.
You used to call me a bitch. You used to,
Oh, now you're
and,
sorry.
And now,
Because- yeah.
now you're preaching Jesus.
You want me to make you feel
Yeah,
better about
yeah,
yourself?
Yeah. Oh, you found Jesus,
Right.
and I'm like, hey.
And then he got a divorce.
Then you had the divorce. But I mean, again, it's going back to you cannot outrun your past. No, you can't, and it might not come right now.
Yeah.
But there's gonna come a time where you have to fix that.
Right. God damn it.
Damn.
You have to, and again, I want everybody just to think. And again, I already have it in my head.
Right.
The thing that you haven't told nobody, no matter
Right.
how, hey, that's my bro. We all have that one thing in our head right now where we're like,
So let me ask this. So if somebody, I mean, there's probably people who've wronged you in your life, and they come and ask for forgiveness. Do you give it outright, or do you sometimes just hold that grudge?
Oh, there's sometimes that I hold a grudge, and one thing that I do want to say that I've learned, and again, I recently, my mom passed away, right? And me and my mom, we've had a toxic relationship. My mom was wild. Like, you think I'm crazy and Mike G wild? Like, my mama was a fool. Like, I got it from her. Like, hey, we gonna turn up. We're gonna have fun.
How's your dad?
I don't know. Never. Oh, I met him one time, but he ran.
Okay, back to your mom.
He ran. He said, "Oh, he ain't got a leg. I'm out of here."
No,
Catch me.
That motherfucker had legs.
For some reason, I thought that, hey, I found my dad. I could just knock on the, hey, what's up? He was like, hey, I'm like, hey, it's Lydia's son. He's like, I mean, like, he saw a ghost. And
You damn right. You Lydia's son. Go back to Lydia, bitch.
But for me and my mom always had a toxic relationship. I mean, it was bad. And then for me, you don't have respect for your mom, you don't have respect for women.
Right.
And again, if you can talk to your mom a certain kind of way, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is. You'll talk to them that way. Yeah. And so I grew up that way, and so I always blamed my mom. And then my mom ended up getting into some hard times, and she was like, "Dad, like, can I go live with you?" And me and my mom hadn't lived together for, I think, since I was like 12 years old. And I was like, "Mom, like when I found God, I was like, Mom, I forgive you, like."
Right.
Because I understand the things that you were going through, because I may have not left my kids the way that you did, but my actions of trying to be in the street caused me to go to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Me wanting to put coke up my nose and party for days.
Right.
I took myself out. Like, I might not have done it the way you did it.
Right.
But I understand what a piece of shit I was, and I want the same forgiveness.
Yeah, I fucked up in my own way.
Man, and so I ended up praying about it, and I was like, Mom, you know what? After like a week of praying, I was like, Mom, I want you to move in with me. And when I was moving her in, I felt like God was like, hey, I want you. And again, that whole time my mom was living with me, it was like 4 months. Since I was 12 years old, that whole 4 months, I was cooking for her. At this time, I'm already working at this company. I started learning about Wagyu beef, prime, ribeyes, and the good stuff. So I was cooking for her. And what is crazy is that we never talked about the issues that we had. I just was showing her forgiveness. Out of nowhere, my mom got COVID and passed away. Wow. But I was able, the last 4 months of her life, I was able to tell her truly, I forgive you.
She fought it for 4 months?
No.
She was there.
She moved in with me, and again, she started working.
Right.
She was working at the University Hospital.
Right. You showed her. Damn. God gave
so,
you that time.
And so now I look at it like, if you've been forgiven of much, you gotta love just as hard as that.
Yeah.
And I know what a piece of shit I am.
Right.
Like, I vividly remember there's things that I had to tell my kids later on in life Daddy hurt your mom. Daddy was a fool. Like, Daddy didn't, man, I was, as a kid, you couldn't tell me nothing. And again, I have 8 kids. I started having kids when I was 16.
Right.
My oldest is 19. My youngest is 4. And I mean, I got 4 boys, 4 girls. And again, the part of me that used to be that person, this person today is embarrassed of him.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, that's the perfect why we named this Now We're Here. Because
come on, that's what it's called.
Now we're here because
we're here.
We've been through shit.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah, thanks. It was all my idea.
Motherfucker.
He's like, you asshole.
It's actually, don't take the only thing Rich has contributed to this podcast away from him.
I got one thing here.
Yeah, his voice he doesn't contribute.
I'm holding it on, but again, it goes back to there is some people that I think about things that again, people that hurt me when I was a kid. Like, yo, you treated me like that when I was a kid, and again, I still have that animosity because that made me be who I am. Right. I learned from that, but at the same time, the new rooms that you go into, if you're still the same person, that person is not allowed in that room. Yeah. And when you get inside that room, now you know, like, damn it, they find this out. Right. If they knew about this, then it's like, again, you always live like, and that's why for me, I tell people, like, there's people that I run into. I used to beat people up in the clubs all the time, like all the time. And then they see me and they're like, bro, hey. And I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, and they're like, man, don't, hey, I knew you were tripping. I'm like, nah, but bro, like I really hurt you. Like I didn't have no feelings. It was like, what? Hey, take turns. Like, hey, hold his face up. Like, and you got to go back to those people.
Stomp his head. Like, can you, like, I can't imagine stomping somebody's head today. But it's like,
bro, you're the reason
past.
for the Versace gang, bitch. You're the reason for the fucking the saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna fight you outside of a club. And one of the homies said, "What's up, nigga? What's up, Versace gang, bitch?"
Hey, you know what's crazy is I always wanted to talk about that because
I don't remember how it happened.
I ended up getting stabbed because of that. I got so we were at Element.
Yeah.
I remember they had a show and y'all were gonna fight somebody because your crowd was fucking
crazy. Yeah.
They were wild, bro.
Yeah.
They like, bro, like it looked like County in a club. It looked like Mod 5. Like, so we're in there, and I remember coming outside, and I don't even have a leg, and I won't say his name, but
yeah,
we were coming out, and he was like, he's like, hey, get your bitch ass one leg and whole ass out of here, and I was like I had the crowd. I was like, damn, I'm just watching the fight like everybody else. I'm like, bitch, fuck you. And it was like, hey, fuck you. And I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm about to leave because something about to happen. I want to say like 2 weeks later, I was at downtown in Media Luna and I saw that person. And I was like, I went up to him. I was like, hey, you know, I didn't know that it was him. I knew other people that are around him. And I was like, hey, well, you know, what's good? And they're like, hey, what's good? And I tried to shake his hand. He was like, nah. Nah, I ain't fucking with you. And I was like, yeah. So I go to the restroom and I'm like, I pee and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, this dude really told me that. Like, I'm like, nah, go back out there. I go back out there with the crutches. I'm like, hey, bro, like you got a problem? He's like, yeah. Matter of fact, boom, took off on me. And I was like, and so we started fighting. I got the best of that fight. I ain't gonna lie, I won that. And they were like, all right, bitch, all right. And so it was about 3:00 in the morning. I'm staying at the bar. Again, you know, I can chill after. I go outside, and that dude as soon as I come out, he comes out, and he's like, what's up? I see one guy over here holding jiggers, and I see another guy over here holding jiggers. And I'm like, damn, this is the way it is, huh? And it's only me. And I mean, it's literally downtown, 3:00 in the morning, no life, no nothing. And I get my crutches, I throw one down, and I'm like, bitch, come on. Like, I'm holding one like a spear. And he runs towards me, and I chunk it. And as soon as he chunks it, I see the knife. And I grab the knife, and I'm like, so my head, all right here.
Oh, fuck.
All right there. That's where I got stabbed. So, matter of fact, I got a video of it in my phone.
What is it with these people taking videos of the honest moments?
You got to.
You got
If it's not on Snap, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm like, again, I got one leg, so I can't even stand up. I'm on the ground, and I'm holding his wrist, and he's like fucking stabbing me all in my head. And I grab his wrist, and I kind of like fucking judo him, and he goes down, and I like rub his hand on the ground, and he lets go, and then the cops come, and they tackle us. As soon as the cops tackled me, they already knew me because of the whole downtown shit. They're like, what the fuck are you doing, guy? I'm like, hey, man, you should have got that. The guy that stabbed me, I was like, hey, that's my homeboy. Leave him alone. They're like, they like let him go. And they were like, I'm like, man, you should have got the other motherfuckers. And I'm bleeding all over the place. And they're like, I said, man, hey, I told him, hey, homeboy.
You know it was the guy that stabbed you?
The one that stabbed him ended up telling the cops, like, hey, that's my homeboy, Lil.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told him, like, hey, that's my boy. Like, nah, let him go. They let him go. I'm bleeding everywhere. They're like, Garza, you need... I said, I don't need no fucking ambulance. I take off. That was it. But yeah.
Do you know where it comes from? Like the actual beef between y'all or not?
No.
No, me neither.
No, I
I
have no... Bro, I had no clue. Like, again, I didn't even know that was him. That was from the club.
It might have been stemmed from Toy or something like that. But... I don't know.
Yeah, no, but did you hear about the whole?
Yeah, I heard about it. Mess had brought it up.
Yeah,
like that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, hey, but I go to the hospital and they're like, "Where did you get stabbed?" I was like, "I don't know. I was at a club." Like, and they were like,
In the head.
They were like, "What are you doing in the club with one leg?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know."
Hey, but after that, y'all were good, right? Like,
Yeah, no. After that, I ended up, and again, I had the whole video of the whole thing, and I was like, "Yo, I'm a post it. I'm a man," and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what? I should.
Fine.
Because I felt like
I was gonna ask you to airdrop it. But all right.
Because I felt like at the end, like, bro, I was really set up to get stabbed, and that for me, what tripped me out is it was my people that used to shake my hand. Not the one guy that stabbed me, but the two other people that were there, like, shake my hand. I got down with them, and then you holding jiggers for somebody.
And now you let him invite you to a podcast?
No, it wasn't him. No.
Surprise!
Those guys, they locked up right now. But
That's forgiveness.
hey, but no, I never knew why that happened. I always wanted to ask, but I was like, it's already water under the bridge.
Yeah, I don't know why the fuck it happened.
But so why? Yeah, that's why y'all were saying Versace bitch.
Yeah, Versace Gang bitch came from that first night.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then after that, we kept saying
Better
it.
trademark that shit before they start using it.
Hey, you saw that, right? I need this clip.
That is
Well,
true.
you didn't say it.
No, I
You-
didn't.
Yeah, you were the cause of it, actually.
Oh, so I was the bitch.
You're the reason we said it.
Yeah. You were the reason
You're
we
the
said it.
Versace. Oh yeah,
Versace
you're
gang.
the bitch part.
We're the Versace
Come on,
gang.
bitch.
You're the bitch.
That's crazy. And when that whole thing happened, like again at the club, like I was there. I forgot who it was. I knew of you, and I knew of Mess, but I knew Fable, and that's why I was
okay.
like, I was going out there because he was like, "Hey, come out here, check out the show." And when I went, I was like, "Yo, this is county, like,
Oh, yeah.
and they bought out the bar. They were drinking. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah, we had some crazy ass times back then, and it's yeah, cause I remember we did a video shoot and you were out, a video release party, and you were out there, and I know he was out there, and y'all were all good, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, because I showed up and they were like, "Hey, old boy's here," and I'm like, "Hey, I got a leg now, nigga. Like I ain't on one leg with crutches no more. Like I
When he stabbed you,
I had one. I had
Yeah,
He
he-
used his crutches to spear him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I had one leg. Hey, but I'm telling you, hey, when you get backed up into a corner, you gonna realize what you got. And after that, I was like, damn.
Shit.
Like, boy, okay, you all right?
Yeah, you still hopped on that motherfucker.
Man, it was a fight. But for me, it was almost like if I let you get on top of me, or
It's
if
over.
I let you, I'm like, it was like, have you ever fought somebody that's scared? Hey, them motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, or a mother.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, I've never fought a mother, but
But no,
a mother protecting
they're
the kids.
trying. Yeah, they're trying to protect. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
You ever whooped a mother's ass?
You ever beat them up?
How many fights have you been in with just like one leg?
Well, one leg I've been in.
Like no
And what's your record?
No prosthetic.
yeah, no prosthetic. Just,
And what's your record?
like, cause I didn't think, cause that night too, I was like, I'm not gonna hit this dude. Like at the end of the day.
Oh, y'all wanted to fight me there?
Yeah, we were gonna fight you the first night. That's what
Why
I'm saying.
did y'all want to fight him?
I don't remember at all.
At Element, y'all were gonna fight me?
Yeah, at Element.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's why we brought you here. No, I'm just kidding. But
Hey, come on.
everybody out the rooms.
Hey, remember these two guys?
Nah, it was something like that. Yeah,
Now you can't leave.
because you started getting mad.
No, I just been out without my leg for a couple months. I was still like, bitch, I'm still very much gangster.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and then Ronnie was. You remember Ronnie? Ronnie Mills?
Ronnie Mills, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that was breaking it up. Like, man, y'all are good people.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the one that really broke everything down, and we all
Wow.
shut out. Yeah,
Wow, shout out to Ronnie, man. That's my boy, man.
yeah. And I was like, man, like,
Damn, y'all gonna whoop me like that. And
Yeah.
see, that's a crazy thing is that I lost my leg and I was still going to places where it was like,
Popping.
I just beat you up the other day, or I talked shit to you the other day, and it's crazy, man.
So it didn't sink in right away.
Hell no, I was in the club with a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like I had a wound vac. I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's like where you have a leg that's still open, you have a cut, and it's draining so much that it shoots it into him. I was in the club with a fucking wound vac drinking. I would pop 2 Tramadols, I would do a Valium, and then a Tylenol with codeine, and then I'm taking shots drinking.
you were feeling
Coke?
good.
Are you still doing coke? Were you still doing
No,
coke
at this time I had to
Yeah.
stop. Yeah,
You had to stop. Like, it took my leg.
I drew the line right there.
No, like for me, like I was bad on coke. I would do coke all night, and my boys would get up, and I'm in their house on the living room at 3:00 in the afternoon, like from the night before, and
going.
I'm like, and they're like, bro, what are you? And I'm like,
You ready?
you ready for the night?
Like
I was out of there.
Bitch got 8 hours.
You had enough. Yeah, it was crazy.
How long did it take to sink in? Like, was it that one? What?
After I got stabbed that night, I'm serious. After I got stabbed that night,
There you go,
I was
Mike.
like,
That wasn't me.
I was like, you know what? Like, I was literally, I'll never forget. I was sitting in the hospital. Shout out to Greg Tello, because I couldn't drive. I started like passing out from the blood leaking.
Yeah.
I pulled over.
fucking crazy,
I
dog.
pulled over and I called Greg Tello, and I was like, hey. I was like, Tello, where you at? He's like,
He was
bro.
like, tell her.
He's like, he was around the area. He's like, where? I said, bro, I just got stabbed. Like, I can't fucking, like, I can't drive. He's like, bro, I'm on my way. He picks me up. I'm right there off of 410. Where was I at? I don't know, some restaurant. He picks me up, drops me off, takes me to the hospital, drops me off, and I get inside, and I'm on crutches. As soon as I come, I mean, I have blood everywhere. Just everywhere. And so I go inside, and the nurse is like, oh, shit, like, come here. And they're like,
Oh, you're bleeding.
they're like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, I was at a club. And she's like, she's cleaning me up, and then she leaves, and then she comes back. And I'm just like in this big ass operating room, and I'm just laying there. They just finished cleaning me up, and she comes back, and she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with your life? She's like,
Really?
She's like, you have one leg. Yeah. You just told me you were in the club. She's like, this is not my job. My job is to clean you up. She goes, but like what?
And she's like, and I see everything.
Yeah.
This is different.
And her name was Robin.
And so I was like, I was sitting there, and I'll never forget. I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm and my girl, my wife comes, and she's like, my wife comes, and she's like she's looking at like disgust, like she's like this is what it's gonna be. You're gonna do this for the rest of your life, and I'm like, shit, you know, I was just at the club.
Man, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Them motherfuckers were tripping, not me. I'm stabbed.
And I get back home.
I'm the one stabbed you.
I'm the victim.
You talk to that motherfucker about what he's doing with his life,
I'm the
stabbing
victim.
people and shit.
Man,
Wow.
that was, I mean. And,
I don't even know why he don't like me.
yeah, bro, I still don't know why to this day, bro. Like, it's I don't.
Let me try a text message. It's probably knows.
It's crazy because, I mean, again.
So that's a moment. That's
that day right there. I literally, I stopped going out as much as I was doing. Like, I was still trying to promote at that time, and because I had the one leg, it was going crazy.
That was before you were cursing God out.
Yeah. This is before
the leg, right?
Yeah,
Before
this is before the leg. Yeah. But again, it was that time right there when she had told me that, and then the way my wife was looking at me, just like, it was like, all right.
My wife gives me that look too, but it's usually because I'm just after for sex.
You usually think I just put a shirt on and she's okay.
Like, hey, babe, I'll go to the room.
Usually I'll cover up. But I mean, I think again for me the way my life has played out and the way that, I mean, it has went, it's like I couldn't write that, I couldn't come up with that, I couldn't manipulate my way into it, and again, I'm here still.
But you can tell it. You know?
I'm gonna tell it all
You
day.
can tell it. That's powerful, man. It's
Hey,
powerful.
so Mess doesn't know why he doesn't like you either. And that's Mess's best friend, so that'll tell you
him?
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one person
I
don't
thought
fuck
you were
with.
saying Mess didn't
Oh
like
no,
him. And he didn't know why.
and again for me, I've always heard about things, but for me, it was like, yo, I'm fucking stupid too. Like,
Wait, is this the one that got you raped at a strip club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so y'all already know.
I've known him as long as Mess has known him. Like, that's the one dude. Like, I'm not afraid of very many people. That's one dude I will not fuck with.
I just learned about him a week ago, and I could put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
It sounds like the same motherfucker.
He said I never even met him in person.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, for me, that just, again, that shows you, like, again, I've heard stories, you know, hey, I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you don't know me. I'm crazy too, but
I ain't right either.
But again,
But I don't think I would wait outside for a guy to come out when he's done drinking and stab him in
bro,
his fucking head.
and me and him fought like I want to say like at 12 o'clock.
Damn.
They
Shit, the bar wasn't even closed.
They kicked him out because again, I was the promoter. They're like, hey, I was like, get him out of here. Like they were like, oh, but I said, man, hey.
So that's why they didn't like you.
don't
You
know.
were the one that had to pull the trigger.
But I'm there the rest of the night. Everybody's like, hey, bro, hey. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm taking shots. I'm getting fucked up, and I'm crutching out of the club, and it's like, again, as soon as I walk out the
You
door,
already knew. You're like, oh fuck.
as soon as I walk out the door, he's getting out of the car like this, and he has a knife, and I'm like, bro, for real? I'm like, bro, for real? Like, bro, I got one leg. Like,
But at that, it's a pride thing, bro. It's like, hey.
and again, when he was leaving, when they were leaving, man, I'm throwing beer. Get the fuck out of here, bitch! Like, but again, I had just won the fight, and I'm like, I'm hyped. Like, I'm jumping around one leg, like, fucking pouring beer on everybody. I'm on one, and
Talking
again,
to his leg. We fucking did it, Snoopy. We beat the fuck out of him.
doing shoeies. Doing shoeies.
Oh man! But again, I leave, and again, I was just like, that blew my mind because I didn't expect that.
Literally.
In the middle of downtown, like in the middle, I was like,
oh yeah, it's prison rules here, baby.
Oh man, I've seen he's done some shit.
Don't
bro.
be Tekashi, because
I would never say it on the pod, but man, he's done some shit, and you're just like, bro, the fuck.
yeah, like you tripping, man, you tripping.
Yeah.
do you make plans for the future, or do you go where you believe that God's got the plan for you?
So, and this is what I feel about that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, yeah, God does have a plan for you. Sure. But if you don't take the route that he's telling you to go,
it don't matter.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
And so for me, there is some things like, again, they're like, oh, God was a carpenter, but God never built a table.
Right.
But he gave you the tree
to
build it, like this podcast.
Yeah.
They gave you everything.
Right.
It's up to you whether you want to plug it in, whether you want to get on here, whether you want to edit it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter. But again, he gave it to you. He gave you the platform to say, again, how many people are given this type of equipment?
Right. I don't know what you're talking about. I bought this by myself.
No, for sure. But
but yes, it's a blessing.
I kind of chipped in for it too.
It's a complete blessing, and you're right. How does it land in your lap? And when you possess, like what I'm hearing is the voice, and the delivery. I'm able to speak to people.
Yeah.
It's just the communication. It's just able to happen. Oh, I was going to ask you, and the way that I believe it is because I read a lot. I read a lot of fucking books, and I think that you're good at speaking. So I was going to ask you, how much you read and how much you like reading, because you don't watch TV, and you seem intelligent, and I know you've been through some shit, and a lot of it is street smarts. But yeah, you're right. It's a blessing, but still, it could sit here and just be a blessing if you don't do shit with it. And even if you fucking hit the record button, it still just fucking resides on those phones and on that SD card. Yep. If you don't do shit with it. If you don't do nothing. And so far for the past 7 days, I haven't done shit with it.
I got a little bit of update right there.
Where am I reading?
You want to read it or what?
Yeah, I can read it.
I can read it.
All right. Shit. Hold up. We ain't giving any information away, right?
No.
All right, cool.
He says no, LOL. And then he says Mike G started it.
You asshole.
He said he was pissed at him because he had knocked out Fable's cousin.
Who knocked out Fable's cousin?
You.
No. Oh yeah. No. Yeah, the other dude knocked out Fable's cousin.
Oh, you were pissed.
And you were pissed that he knocked out Fable's cousin. So you got it. Yeah, that's then you got all the. Oh, I remember this. Okay, cool. Yeah.
You said it's all coming back.
Yeah. He knocked out Fable's cousin, and then you got in his face, and you were all pissed off. And then that was the night at Element that started everything.
Yeah.
I told you we were gonna whip your ass, but it was your fault. It was your fault. Nah, but yeah, it was that was it though. It was You got buck at him and you got pissed at him and all of that, and after that he held that fucking grudge with you.
He held it for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go to the restroom right quick.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I didn't even see. And that was me being drunk though.
Yeah, that's what Matt says at the end. He said Mike G was drunk.
So does he still call his penis a third leg?
That's an interesting question to ask when he gets back. I was thinking that too. I was like, well, we got fucking all legs here if you include your dick. We all got a leg.
I got you, bro.
Yeah, we got an extra one.
Damn, man, this is a real good one.
Yeah.
It's very good. This is the type of podcast that I would want to have.
He's cool, man. He really is. After that, he came out in our music video. We actually became really cool after that.
Did you send that one video you sent?
What?
Oh, you put it in the group chat, right? The one where they outtake the
fucking the no walking zone one.
Yeah.
I'll tell him. Well, I already sent it in the group chat.
Yeah.
But we could probably post those, and then if he wants to airdrop whatever to Beans. Do you know which videos you want, Beaner?
I like this podcast, bro. This is dope.
Do you call your dick a third leg still?
No, it's never been. it's never been.
But I lost my second thumb.
It's actually a pinky toe.
Big toe.
Damn, that's crazy. And again, for me, that was the majority of where my problems came from was
getting drunk.
I was drunk, crazy. And then again, you put the powder because again, I'm not trying to go to sleep, And then for me, it was like, yo, we're gonna party all night. We're gonna ride this thing out.
Yeah, man, that's
done.
Fucking.
I got no more memory on that phone.
How long are we going?
I'm gonna switch it.
We usually got about another hour left.
Yeah.
Were we only at an hour?
No. We're like at 2.
We're at 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we usually go for about 3.
Come on.
We got a lot of shit to talk about.
So, what's your craziest experience in the club besides getting stabbed in the head? Like, you ever had
No, I think the better question is, what's your biggest what the fuck just happened moment in the club?
Yeah.
The biggest what the fuck happened in the club. I would have to say, dang, there's a lot. With me or
Like
in general, you've seen it. You're a fucking club promoter, man.
You must have seen some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say a lot of these things.
Just
but
don't use names.
Yeah. Man, I mean, just the after parties that we've done. I mean, just inside the club closes, and the Ice Lounge. Ice Lounge was one of those clubs that, and it's not around no more, but everybody knew what that club was.
Oh yeah.
And man, when I tell you, Ice Lounge, we are a bunch of meth heads. But in Ice Lounge, bro, again, for me, I really gravitated towards that rock star life. Yo, we're gonna turn up. Let's turn up. And I think for me, just the crazy drug parties. The chilling with celebrities. Like I remember doing bumps with Brody Jenner, Kardashian's brother.
What? He doesn't do drugs.
I was giving him and his DJ bumps all night, in the club. It was crazy to be able to be that close to celebrities, and then again, they're normal people like us that got some fame. So, again, the clubs are just. Again, I've gotten shot outside shot at outside the clubs. It was crazy, bro.
Bro said I ain't gonna name no names, and then said Brody Jenner.
Well, that's because he's out there. He's
already out there.
He's already out there.
It's cool because he comes across the podcast and reposts saying, "This podcast said this shit."
And I got pictures.
Hell yeah.
I got pictures and videos, shit. But there's just you've been in the night scene, bro.
Oh
You see.
But as a fucking club promoter, you're there way more than I've ever been.
Oh man.
And I just imagine that somebody's baby fucking dad just shows up and starts beating the fuck out of a bitch behind the bar.
Oh man, we've seen. We've seen a dude come to the club because his girl's posting, and she's and he literally takes her out like, bitch, what are you doing? And then you see them at the club the next week together. Like
that's fucking love.
That's
love in San
and that
Antonio.
man's name was Mike.
His name was Mike. But yeah,
I want that.
Yeah. No, I think we deprogrammed you from toxicness.
Nah.
Nope. He said, nah,
it's going to take years of this podcast to even put it.
That's why I wanted her to be a regular to kind of continue on that reminder. Don't fuck with these bitches. Don't fuck with this bitch.
Even though the whole
This is
podcast
what
you were
they're
trying to
capable
fuck
of.
with her.
No, I wasn't. I was trying to ask the questions that I knew that motherfuckers were watching. Would
Have
never ask.
you seen it? The second one we did?
No, I haven't seen it.
With the chick?
We'll follow up.
Well, the
Bianca.
Bianca?
Yeah.
No, I just seen that the first one. Y'all got a 2 with her?
No. So you seen the one with?
I seen
her.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was
No,
just
that's what I'm
asking
talking
the
about.
pertinent questions that you guys weren't gonna ask because you were
Pregnant?
I've been
pertinent.
Oh,
Pregnant
my bad.
questions.
He doesn't read.
No, I don't. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I
What
do.
about audiobooks, man?
See, I used to, but where I'm at, I don't
there's
have
no Wi-Fi.
I don't have Wi-Fi.
What made you want to move
Get a
out there?
Kindle.
Yeah, why
You
would
said,
the
fuck,
country?
fuck this city. They stabbed my head over here. They fucking
No.
got rid of my leg. I'm out this bitch.
So I was again. My mom was living in my apartment. She ended up passing away, but I had a 2-bedroom, and she had that room for her. And just being in that apartment every day, like
it's sad.
I would close the door, and I'm like, I didn't even want to go through her stuff. But just being in there, I was like, yo, I gotta get out of this. I can't stay here. I gotta move. So I put in my 60-day notice, but I couldn't find a place because of my criminal background.
That's me.
Okay. Wait.
No, I'm sending myself the video. My bad.
Oh, I think you said
Oh wait, did I send it to you? No, I was like,
but I couldn't find a place. So again, I've been in and out of prison. I just got an apartment 2 years ago. I've been homeless my whole life, but I've lived with chicks, drove their car, slept on their couch in their house, and when it's time to go, like, hey, pack your shit, put it in the bag, you gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm gone. I'll see you later. So 2 years ago was the first time that I got an apartment. Well, my mom passed away, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta get out. I couldn't find a place because they were like, yo, you're a convicted felon. You got aggravated assault on your record with affirmative finding of a weapon. Like, we can't mess with you. I'm like, man, like, I work for the juvenile. Like, I mentor the kids. Like, I got letters from the chief, city council people that are, again, they hear my story. I go to these juvenile places, and they're like, hey, Mike, like, you want to go to the schools and talk to the kids, like, in the cafeteria, and like, we can get, like, and I'm like, but again, for me, it's just crazy because, you know, you live this life and it's like, man, what the hell? Like,
Why would someone want to hear from me?
why would somebody
no,
want to
I
hear
get it.
from me? And then they're like, and again, what is crazy is, you know, no disrespect to some of the officers that are there, but you'll see them, you'll see them get up there and talk to these kids, and these kids are not listening.
Yeah, they phase out. They're like, oh, this
and
is
then
just...
and then somebody like me will get up there and start talking, and they're like, damn, like,
Man, you just described the last 2 podcasts, bro. I just phase out and we get you in here. And I'm like, all right, cool. This guy's got a message.
he's got a message. But yeah,
Message.
I mean, it's crazy to go from that where now city councilman, the district attorney who actually put me in prison actually co-signed, was like, yeah.
He's a good person now.
Yeah.
Did he come up to you? He's like, my bad.
My bad. No, they're like, hey, and again, it's like I tell the kids, when you go in front of these people, they don't know you. They don't know you. They don't want to know you. They read your crime, read your name, and read what you've been through, and they make their decision on that. It ain't nothing.
Data.
It ain't
You
nothing
are data.
personal.
You want them to know you? Take you
Yeah.
to fucking trial.
Yeah. You want them to know your name? Yeah. All right, take them to trial. But it's just, I mean, it blows my mind, man. For real, it's crazy, man. I can't even explain it, bro. It's wild.
Yeah. And now you're here.
Now I'm here. And on the way, you know what is crazy is on the way over here, I was thinking too, like, again, me and you have never chilled outside of that. So
yeah.
I'm always like, man, what is it gonna be like? Again, I look at my life and I'm like, you know, I see
not that
I see
interesting.
some crazy shit. I'm like, yeah, that was. But then everybody else is like, hey, man, like. And so for me, I appreciate it, bro, because
Oh, yeah, bro.
you saw something.
Yeah, and as soon as you went to the restroom, he said, man, you're like one of the best guests we ever had.
Come on, man.
in 3 episodes.
You're definitely top 2.
Yeah,
guests
top
we had.
2 for
But
sure,
it's the type,
bro.
this is the real type of in-depth shit that, you know,
Yeah.
that we want to hear. That
You're
not
lucky
just like
she has better titties than you, because then you'd be number 1.
you would 100%. Like, so did you
I
suck
gotta
his
show
dick
you
or did you suck his dick?
I gotta show my head.
How many times did you suck his dick? Do you like to suck dick? How do you suck dick? Can you tell me about the sucking dick that you do?
Do you suck dick or not?
You do it.
But did I ask any of those types of questions
You
today?
should've.
No.
You should've. I have
Man,
questions.
if you ever want to read a book or listen to an audio book, I would recommend The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog.
The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog.
Yeah, man. It talks about it just talks about the brain and how the brain adjusts itself to what it. But there's a whole segment that it talks about amputees.
Wow.
And you know how they respond to being amputees and how they overcome it. And part of that book was kind of, you know, it opened my mind to like, oh shit, because I would think like if I ever lost a limb or anything else, I would be at that fucking state. Like, fuck that. I'm done.
Hey, at least you know who to go to though if you do.
But it's
Facts.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah, 100%.
Just cut it
Right?
off now.
Maybe I'm about to stub a toe.
Yeah.
I just
You know,
don't know.
If we cross 1,000 views, I will cut off my leg and give that money.
Let's do it.
But it goes into it, man, and I think that it might help you in maybe in your profession or even in your life. You know, it's a real good book, but it you know there's a segment in there that, like I said, just it goes into all of that, man. And
No, definitely. There's this saying that amputees, I forgot that guy's name, C.S. Lewis. He
Alice in Wonderland guy.
He has one leg, but he says that losing a leg is like losing a loved one, because when you lose a loved one, you have the memories of them, and you have to figure out how to go every day. Now your life has changed.
Yeah.
It's never going to be the same. It's the same thing with losing a leg, because now you have phantom pain, which is like the memories of, hey, I'm still here.
yeah,
Hey, your life has changed. And again, when I went through this whole loss of my leg and then the loss with my mom, I was like, damn, that you literally have to figure out. Again, I was standing up peeing one day. The next day I'm sitting down. I can't stand up and
sex
piss.
change.
Wait, was that today? Usually when it goes
You
to
had
the
a
piss.
sex change as well. Let's get into that.
But
Hold on, you guys
Did-
did more than one thing.
Did Brody Jenner put you on to a good doctor for that?
he did. Shout out Brody.
Here's a doctor my dad's seeing.
This is the way.
There's the quote right there. The death of a beloved is an amputation, and that's C.S.
Yeah,
Lewis's
that
quote.
is. Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, and
100%,
it's
man.
crazy the way he talks about it, because again, the phantom pain, where
Right.
you can feel your toes, you can
Yeah.
feel your ankle. Same thing with the memories.
Yeah.
You think of your loved one, you're like, damn, hey, they're not here no more.
And we're still thinking of them and hurting for them, like if there's an opportunity for them to still be here, right? And your leg's gone. There's no opportunity for you
None.
to have it anymore.
It's
you know?
not coming back.
Well, you don't keep it like in a jar in your room, like
No, you know what is crazy is I did ask them for my toenails when they were amputating it, and I was like, man, can y'all at least like pull off my toenails? And they didn't do it.
You can make a neck or
drunk.
something or something.
You're drunk and on coke right now. I don't think you want your
I
toenails.
was pissed, but I'm actually gonna get to sit inside one of my patients' amputation. So
Really?
again, I work with the doctors
While it happens?
While they're doing the amputation, I'm gonna be able to sit inside the room. And again, I just want to see the person whose job it is to pick up the leg after it's cut from the table and then take it to wherever they got to.
They just start swinging it. They fucking
Like-
got us a leg.
Like for me, I think that's just the wildest thing.
Can you record it and airdrop it to Beans?
I wish I could, but
I won't take the whole setup there. They'll probably get better lighting with the surgeons.
HIPAA laws won't let us do
It's
it.
all right.
man.
They don't need to know. We'll
Screw
take it next
HIPAA.
Hey, as long as you don't put who
You've
they
broken
are.
worse laws in your life.
Oh, yeah,
than
for
HIPAA
sure.
laws.
You sell drugs, but HIPAA.
Who sold coke?
HIPAA's gonna stop you.
Yeah. So pounds of drugs, and you're worried about HIPAA laws.
That's like some
Okay.
Al Capone shit like that, going for tax evasion.
That is
It's like,
true.
And the FBI's gonna be like, you didn't fuck with us.
Hey, so let me ask y'all a question, since y'all you know about me and my side, but for each of y'all, and again, I kind of see how sometimes you talk about God and you're like, yo,
Oh yeah.
but honestly, what do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about God? Like, do y'all have a relationship? Is it like the same? Like,
I'm an atheist.
you're an atheist?
I'm an atheist.
Okay.
But see, and here's my thing with religion. Like, there's a need.
I hate religion, but okay.
No. I don't hate it. I
No,
don't hate it.
I
No,
hate.
he's saying he hates
I,
it.
Oh.
I hate the religion of
The establishment.
everybody's like, oh, you gotta be like. I'll get to that in a little while, but
Yeah, tidings and all that shit.
what?
I
didn't.
mean,
go ahead.
Here's the thing, because I have a friend who her daughter was in Catholic school, and I think she went to public school, and they started giving her shit because they didn't believe in God, whatever. And it's like, That's not my role to play. That's the decision I've made. That's, what, I've done my work. I went through a religious phase. I've read through the Bible. I was raised Catholic and all that. And through all that, through my experiences, I don't think there is a God. Okay. But I will never take that away from somebody who has that belief in God, because maybe you're right. I mean, if all the stuff I've heard about God is right, either way, if I believe or not, He's going to forgive me in the end. Yeah. But in all seriousness, though, it's like, I've processed it. I've come to that decision, but I will never take away anybody's belief in God. Like earlier we were talking about it. I said, hey, He put you in that place because that's, and maybe He did. Maybe I'm an idiot. Yeah. But through what I've experienced and through what I've seen and through what I've experienced, I don't believe there is one, but I'm never going to take that away from anybody who has that belief, because that's not right.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of how I am. I'm never going to shit on somebody for believing on God unless they're coming at me.
What about their chest?
Oh, I'll shit on their chest.
Well, I've had people come at me too, like, oh, you're not religious, you don't believe in God. How do you think? I was like, oh, that's great that you feel that way, but I know what I know. Yeah. And I've seen what I've seen, and I've decided what I've decided. You're not going to change me because of that. Yeah, yeah. But adversely, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. Yeah. That's not my place.
I like that, and I can accept that, because when I first got saved, I was calling out people. I was like, "Hey, bro, we used to do bumps in the restroom, bro. I want to take you to church now." And they're like,
"No, that's the worst.
That's the worst." Yeah. And for me, that's how I was. But I felt like I needed to stop everything. I needed to stop smoking. I needed to stop drinking. Right. I needed to stop being a hoe and doing all of that.
But one thing I can say, though, because I grew up learning about religion, growing up Catholic, I think I built a set of morals where people, like, they ask me now, and I don't go out and openly advertise I'm an atheist, but some people have asked me, so what are you? And I'm like, I'm an atheist. Yeah. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you think I'm like this because I followed a certain book? No, through my life experiences, I've made these decisions to be this type of person. Yeah. And some of that was informed by Scripture.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, man. I think for me, religion, I can't get down with religion. I can understand it. And it's the certain types of religions, right? I'm religious people and how they,
R.I.P. Grandma.
The rules are rigid, right? So it's like, if you don't follow these rules, you don't get to the special place. I don't think that's true. I think, and I don't know that there's so much of a special place. I think part of it with God is we tend to personify it, and make God like God is human, and Jesus Christ existed, right? And it's debatable whether or not, between religions, He possessed the powers, or He was given the word that He was given. Yeah. And it's up to whoever believes, whether they believe or not, that story was true. But to say that, throughout mankind's history, you see the recurring theme of religion. And it was up, to a certain point, millions of years before, you probably didn't see it as much, but you see throughout civilizations that there's this recurring theme of a higher power. And is it the Catholic God? Is it the God of Islam? Is it the Buddhist? Right. It is all the same thing, right? They're following the same theme. And, we start putting ourselves in these silos of Catholic and Christian and Muslim and all these things, and lose sight of what we're really thinking about is how to become a better human, how to be a better human. It's the guidelines. It's the rules to be a better human. It's not if you don't follow these.
But who set those guidelines?
It's for me. I think it's
morality.
But I'm saying, like, right. What makes you think that murder is not okay? Like, right. We know that it's wrong, but there's other people that are like, nah, this is.
Who instilled those in the human genetics? Who instilled those in the human psyche, in the human mind? Right? Who did that? Higher power. Did science make did the fucking atoms in your brain say you have to be good? We have to put these rules in there. Like, what decided that, right? And if we say who, then we think about somebody in a robe, pulling the strings. Yeah. But if we say what, and you don't know what that higher power is, that's what I believe in. I believe that there's a higher power, but I believe that any religion you delve into, there's a lesson to learn in there. Like,
agreed.
True.
I read a book when I was at my lowest point, man.
It's called the Bible.
No, it was called The Art of Happiness. And my mom, I was living with my mom at the time because I split up with my ex, And she picked it up and she's like, this is Buddhist. And I said, yeah. And she goes, this is blasphemy. We were raised Catholic. And I said, I know how I was raised and I know what, I was told to believe in. I'm not saying I don't believe in those things, but I'm saying that the world is big.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And if we shut our minds off to just the Catholic ideals or the Christian ideals, we're closing our minds to a whole lot of fucking wisdom and knowledge.
Come on.
Yeah, when I took my philosophy class, it was a lot of you're studying this God, and this God, and it's like, man, you can't fucking just pick one. Like you really can't, because like you said, there's so many things to learn from each fucking religion,
Right.
man.
You don't have to.
And that's how I am. I'm big. I would say probably agnostic because I believe that there's.
What does that mean? I've always heard
Yeah.
of
Well,
agnostic.
you don't. It's like
bisexual.
Yeah, it's like bisexual. It's not all the
I'm
way
gonna
atheist,
I'm
and
gonna
you're
keep
not a
my options
believer.
open.
It's kind of what Bean just described. Like you believe in a higher power, you just don't subscribe to a specific religion.
Yeah.
So you being
I'm flat out
atheist.
atheist. I don't believe in God.
There's
See, I think there's something bigger than myself because I just think like this can't just be it. Like, and that's just me. There's something bigger. I don't know if it's God. I don't know if it's a fucking computer in the fucking sky, but there's something bigger that makes us all fucking work.
Yeah.
And we all work like a watch. If you open up a fucking watch, everything is just perfectly intricate. There's reasons why we eat fucking cows and the cows eat the grass. All of that shit.
Yeah.
Like, it all makes
sure.
sense. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to me, there's something put all of that in that arrangement, whether it's God or anybody else.
The biggest catalyst in my life that for me, and I know, I told my friend this one time because he told me he was atheist, and this was a time where I would preach, you know, and now I'm not.
Jesus loves you.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, man, you gotta believe. And he's like, no, we were drunk, and he's like, dude, no, there's no God. And I was like, you never had children, you never saw a child being born. You ever seen a child come into the world
Fucking
before?
disgusting.
You ever watched it? See, when I was
Seen Ace
I was
Ventura.
17 when I got my girl pregnant.
I seen the rhino come out.
That shit looked fine to me. She walked fine after that.
No, but I
to see that.
to experience that, not only, and again, I mean, I used to be the same way. Like, and even now, again, for me, I say that I'm not a Christian. Like, I do not get along with
Didn't they
Christians.
kick you out your church?
Yeah, I got kicked out. Yeah. So let me get to that. So
It's not that he's not a Christian. It's that he's not one of us.
So,
not allowed.
So I went to this, again, and I can't really talk bad about the church because, again, they were doing what they had to do. But at the same time, my kids and my ex and they go there to that church, and I've literally seen my son who's autistic.
I was just about to ask that because I saw the puzzle piece on your arm.
I literally see my son who was mute.
Don't watch the first episode.
I mean, don't do it. Where is this? Y'all two? It's two of y'all, right? Or is it, no. Oh, you were on the screen.
I'm in the small screen.
You know what? I did start watching that one.
I mean, when it just stopped there.
Since that came out, I turned it off.
But I seen my son who was, couldn't talk, couldn't even express
Nonverbal.
himself, nonverbal. And then again, he's going to church and he's doing this thing, and I see my son's talking. My son's on the wrestling team.
Really?
When my son, loud noises, he had to cover his ears. He would get a panic attack. He's gone. He's taking off. Like, that's his instinct. Hey, I gotta run. But I've seen things done in that church with my kids that I can literally say that the church did a good thing by kicking me out because, again, for me, me and my wife, we were going through a separation, and I ain't trying to hear that shit. Like, I got something to say, and I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I don't care where we're at. I don't care if we're at church or whatever. So I was trying to have a conversation before church started, and the security already knew that me and her were separating. And I was like, yo, anybody can get it. And so they were like, they came up to me and
You're just another bouncer to me, bitch.
I got kicked out of the clubs and came back the next day like shit.
I threw my crutch at them like a spear.
So they the security comes and I'm like in the very front of the church, like the pews. The church hasn't started yet, but I'm talking and they come up to me and they're like, hey, hey, we can we go outside? I'm like, nah, we ain't going. Like, I'm gonna say what I need to say right here. He's like, man, can you? I said, man, go call your homeboys. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. So
go call your disciples.
He goes and calls his homeboys, and they come and they're like,
that's the buffest priest I've ever seen.
And so at this point, I'm like, all right, you we're doing this in church, Mike. Like you tripping. Like get out. And I'm like, you know what? My kids are right there. My kids are already mad at me because me and my wife are going through it, and they're just like, they're looking at me like. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go outside. Mm-hmm. So we go outside. They come outside and they're like, hey, look, hey, you know, just go home for the day. We'll settle this later on. Just go. And I'm like, all right, cool. Mm-hmm. I leave. Outside, they call the cops because my one of my brothers comes by and he's like, hey,
what's the problem?
He's like, what?
The fucking Glock out the car.
We got a problem here?
He's like, why are you tripping? I'm like, man, bitch, fuck you, like get away from me. But
on God,
at this time, I was going through some shit and I was trying to talk to my boy about it, my brother, and I was like, yo, like. This is the shit that I've been telling you about. Yeah. I didn't want it to get here. And now we here.
Right.
Like, I ain't trying to hear shit. Get away from me, too. Like, you can get it, too.
Yeah. Thank you for name dropping the podcast again, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we're here.
Now we're here. So the cops...
What if the priest would have came out and just stabbed you in the head?
Oh, man. So...
It was night church.
So Live Oak PD ends up pulling up. And
shout out.
And I remember standing there. And I don't know if you ever, again, maybe you do, but you ever heard of the 99? Like, God will leave the 99 and come for the one? Mm-hmm. There was literally over 100 people outside of that church.
Oh.
Like, watching this wreck happen. Because, again, for me, imagine some Ice Lounge shit, some Element shit, but at a church.
Wait, did you have your prosthetic? Or
no, I had my prosthetic, yeah. So...
You started thinking maybe I'm the problem?
I knew. So I'm standing there and I see everybody, and then everybody's on that side, and it's me, another security guard, and some lady who's by me, and she's just praying. She's like,
I was like, when are they gonna start praying for this man? Like, we're at church and everybody's trying to kick him out. When the fuck do they start praying?
No, there was matter of fact, there was two ladies there. I still got love for them to this day. So I ended up leaving. I left that
Lulu
day.
and Stella.
Hey, Jesus was inside just lacing his boots ready for Mike to start tripping.
I'm about to
let him call my fucking mama one more time, bro.
Say my name.
This time, I ain't saving
that's
him.
messed up.
Use my name in vain, motherfucker.
He's like, it's about to be penitentiary rules in here.
Penitentiary rules are in effect. So I leave that day. The cops are like, hey, just leave. You know, just go ahead and go. I had 16 warrants in Live Oak. And they were like, because it was past tickets from when I was those things don't go away in Live Oak or Kirby.
I don't know how we do this, but we have gotten our second guest to admit to having warrants.
Shout out to Live Oak.
So one host.
So
yeah, but that was real. It's fake.
So they end up kicking me out. They were like, you know, just chill. So I was like, you know what? I'm going back next Sunday. And I went back again next Sunday. The same thing happened again, but this time they were like, you know, hey, just go. Like again, I was hey, who won it? I'm in there, me mugging the security, like. And then what really threw it off after that, a couple of days, my son, he was like, hey, Dad, can I go? They were having an event at the pastor's house. He's like, they want me to go, but they don't want you to drop us off. Like, you can't drop me off over there. That was the last straw. I was like, so the preacher's telling you this? I'm like,
it's the way your son said it.
Yeah. And so I show up to the church and I tell his assistant, like, yo, hey, tell that fool to come down here. Like, hey, we can go in the prayer room. We can go where? Like, hey.
I heard he had a message for me.
Yeah. I was like, yo, hey, tell him don't be scared to come down here. Like, hey, tell him he about to get these hands. And so they called Live Oak PD again, and they put a criminal trespassing warning against me to not go back to the church. But I say all of that to say this: that was the beginning of my walk with God, and I left that church, and I was like, how can you love somebody like me?
Right.
Of all these people at this church have literally turned their back on me because, again, my actions, the way that I was acting. how can you love me? And man, I left there and I thought God was done with me. Because again, I'm calling the pastor a bitch. I'm like, I'm in the church.
Yeah.
Bitch, I'll whoop you. You can get it too. And I'm going off. I had like this is it. Yeah. And I left church that day. And again, God the whole time was just like, I've been knowing you were like this, man.
Right.
Hey.
God loves toxic people.
But I got you. No,
I am walking in the footsteps of God.
Because you love toxic.
No,
you love toxic
I had
bitches.
to say it. No, hold on, because I had to say it to be fair, because I don't want anybody to come at me and fuck.
Oh.
You don't want anybody to come at you and fuck?
Fuck. All right, we lost video twice now.
Oh man.
Damn.
But no,
But
go ahead.
so I have to say, because I was calling her toxic the entire time, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those traits reside here. So I have to say, homie, you're toxic.
You're toxic. Yeah, no, seriously.
No, he's toxic by
I'm not
association.
judging you. Toxic by association. I just had to say it because I don't want the feminists to come at me.
No, and
Why could you call her toxic? Because she's a woman, but he's a man and he's doing the same shit, and you don't call him toxic.
Well, he's got a dick, lady.
I'm toxic too, bitch.
but I love you. But I go back to I left and I was like, damn, like I just started coming to church. God, like you done with me. Like this, it don't like my bad. Hey,
My fault.
You about to take my job. You about to take everything that you gave to me, the leg. Like, I was literally sitting at the house waiting for God to take it all. Like, imagine the carpet just, you stand on it and just, all right. Like, that's how I felt like God was. Like, damn, I messed up. Now you coming for everything that you just blessed me with.
Yeah.
And when I left that church, when I got kicked out of that church, I'm serious. God has shown me so much love and so much grace for my brokenness. Yeah. He's like, no, I understand that. They don't understand it, but I get it. And for me, it was just like, nah, and after that, my life has literally taken off. Like and again, there's no way that I could take credit for the things that I could go on for miracle on miracle on miracle on the things that he's done, but I know for sure without a shadow of a doubt, I couldn't manipulate my way into this, and I couldn't. There's no way.
So Rich, and
What's up?
And I agree, man. And like, how could you do it on your own, right? How the fuck? How could the baby come out with the doctor's help? But how can the baby come out?
How can we all
countless?
have different fingerprints?
Yeah. But what do you
the fucking scientist?
okay, from your
averages,
perspective,
but
what
whatever.
the things that people call miracles,
Mm-hmm.
what would you attribute them to, if not a higher power?
Coincidences?
Pure?
It's the law of averages. Eventually, things occur so many times. So many billions of things are occurring at one moment at a time.
Something has to happen.
Something has to happen.
Somebody has to be saved.
Yeah.
People lose their legs in motorcycle accidents all the time, and most of them die. Somebody has to be saved.
Yeah,
or most of them lose their legs and turn out their life goes to shit.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna say
for every Mike story, there's a story of someone who just fucking died that day.
But see, I don't like those arguments because it discredits the people who do believe.
But see, I'm not trying to have an argument with you, girl.
No, I'm saying
I wasn't gonna
you're
go there.
fucking toxic.
But if you want to do that, then let's go.
I mean, if you really want to have that conversation, we can. I just don't like having that conversation because
This is getting the perspective,
Because then you'd have to explain it.
Not that you're
then
judging.
you're fucking fact checking me.
What you could probably say is I don't, because this might be what happens is that you don't even judge that as whether when somebody says that's a miracle, you don't even, there's not even the part of you that's like dismissing, miracle.
I don't dismiss it. I mean, to them, it's a miracle. To me, it's the law of averages. It's going to happen at some point to somebody in some way.
When did you get your degree in mathematics? Or?
I did it.
Oh.
My boy.
No, but and again,
Did you Google the averages for everything?
Like I tell people, like if I wouldn't have been broken, like okay, Brian's parents, right? Mm-hmm. Brian's parents before this were wild. Like when their son got sick, and I see the drastic change in their life. Like for me, sometimes you have to be broken You have to be broken down. And for me, I explain it like this. I don't know if y'all have ever had a crappy ass car, but when you have a crappy car, you're taking the back roads. You're taking the easy route. Because you know at any given time, this shit's going to break down and I just need to park somewhere. That's how I felt. That's how I feel it is with your body.
I had a dead end doing that shit one time.
I feel that I feel that people can be strong long enough until there comes that time where they're just broken and they're just like, I don't. And again, I've never met somebody who met God when their life was just great. I've never met somebody like, oh, I won the lottery and I got this badass relationship with God. I've only met people who were broken, and I mean, broken.
And sometimes people just need that to fall. I mean, not to fall back on, but just to have something greater than yourself. At the end of the day, you just need that.
And if that's the way you feel, that's great. But the way I look at stuff like that, it's you as a human being adjusting to the situation. So,
a lot of what's in that book that I mentioned.
So I mean,
it is like it's your brain.
Can we go back to saying racist things and making fun of people with disabilities here?
I love this conversation.
Bro, so
because
you got 8 kids?
I got 8.
Same baby mom?
Shit.
No, I had 3 with my high school sweetheart, 3 with my wife, and then while I was a club promoter, I ended up stepping out and having 2 other kids on them. So, yeah.
So she held you down while you were locked up and while you were
No, not while I was locked up.
Okay. The wife did not hold you down during the...
At that time, we were going through...
separation?
Yeah, we were going through some shit, and
She's
again...
like, fuck off, Mike. You're never going to change.
You're never going to change. And
you're going to be the same motherfucker when you come out.
What's crazy is that we weren't even together when I got into the accident. When I got into the accident...
Yeah.
I didn't have a place to stay, and she was like, you can sleep on the couch. And me sleeping on the couch and her like literally changing the dressings on my leg and helping me out, like we
fell in love with her all
fell
over
back
again.
in love all over
man,
again.
This woman's amazing.
Bro, she is. And
she is.
And I'm telling you, I always tell her all the time, like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm trying to change this. But when you've been a piece of shit your whole life, it doesn't go away right away.
Overnight,
some things drop. Mm-hmm. Some things are better. Like selling drugs. Like, yo, hey, I'm done with that life. But doing me and being hard headed and thinking that everything has to go my way or that's the wrong way. Like for me, it's the pride. It's like, hey, no, we got to do it this way. No, I don't like. And so for me. I always kick myself in the ass and I literally take my leg off and like boom. But it's like again, how many times have we gotten something and we want it so bad, but at the same time you don't even know how to care for it. Like my kids. I didn't know what a parent was. There ain't no fucking handbook. So when you're going through it, man, I have so many mess ups that now when people see me with my little girl and they see me how I'm a father with her, they're like, yo, how did you get there? I'm like, you should have seen. Ask my other kids how bad of a dad that I was. That now that I know, man, I got to do this. I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to get my life together. Yeah. And I never did that before.
10 years ago, you wouldn't have been that guy.
Man.
Yeah.
You couldn't. Hey, I tell people, man, I never walked out on my kids like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with you, but. My actions as far as partying, club promoting, that for me, going viral, being a celebrity and doing all of this stuff was the goal. That was like, I'm going to do all of this stuff with these celebrities and I'm going to get to a certain level. And then when you go viral, you're like, you can't sustain it because you don't have shit to talk about besides some crazy shit that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, cool. You're going to do crazy shit the whole time or you're going to actually, you got something to offer, you got something to say, and a lot of people they'll go viral and they can't sustain it because
what are you gonna do with it?
What the fuck are you gonna like? What is your talent?
What's your backup?
What's your backup? Oh, I go crazy.
It's like in the music industry, they say, all right, you got that one hit, but you still need to follow it up with that second one. Yep. You don't follow it with that second one, you just.
And I think it's worse the second time around because they always compare you to the first thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Unless you're Eminem.
Damn it.
Because you just get better and better.
And I think the idea. Is to minimize the times that the amount of times you say, here we go again. like, fuck, man, I did it again.
Come on.
You know, not to say that you ain't gonna have those moments.
Yeah.
You know, but
Well, if he does, he has a good fucking connect on another leg.
oh shit,
I'm
don't
telling
do
you.
that again.
Yeah, don't do that one
If
again.
I lose my other leg, I'm gonna be 6 feet tall. Because I get
yeah,
I
man.
get to put them both up.
That might be my ticket.
And you know what's crazy is I tell my patients that have like, and they're like in the hospital bed, just got their leg cut. I'm like, man, have you ever thought about being tall? Like,
So you could extend it
Yeah,
to how
so-
how you go?
Fuck yeah.
so this
But
right here,
does your brain have to learn?
this is the pylon. So if I wanted to be like 4 more inches, I could add 4 more inches to the pipe. And
Yo, I want to add 4 more inches to the pipe.
Trust me, you added 4 more when you got here.
But yeah, no, I and again, it's just again like and that's for all of us. Like everybody, you've been through some trauma ass shit that you could see somebody going through it, and you could be like, hey, bro,
I know.
I was there.
I got you.
And that's what this podcast shit is for. Is
Yes.
to put people's story out there so that somebody else can be like, they did that shit. Like,
Look at 'em.
It's I could do it.
Yeah.
And again, when you tell people stories, bro, I don't give a fuck if you're not a celebrity, if you're not doing viral shit and all of you still have a story to tell.
Yeah, and the other important part, I think the most important part is that you don't hide that you were a piece of shit at some points in your life.
You can't.
He
You
still
know?
thinks he's a piece of shit.
Because you could come in,
yeah.
you could come in guns blazing like you did at the beginning of the show. Boom! These are all the great things I've done. This is all the notoriety I've gained. This is how I overcame. But you know what? I still got times where I revert back,
Man.
because another book is the 4 Agreements. Book of the 4 Agreements. It's called, it's how people fucking this is how you grew through your life.
Yeah.
And you're the way you are. Nobody's like the way you are exactly because nobody went through exactly what you went through. You know.
And that goes back to like a story that I read in the Bible. And God gives us all gifts, whether higher power or whatever it is, whoever is out there, right? But for me, it's God, it's Jesus Christ, and we all been given gifts. And like it says in the Bible, God will give us all these gifts, and then He gave all these people these gifts. It was called a talent, and so it was like a bag of money. He gave everybody a talent. He said, "I'm gonna give you 4, I'm gonna give you 1, and I'm gonna give you 10." And he's like, "I'll be back, but hey, go in and flip that." He leaves. You don't know when he's gonna come back, and he comes back, and he's like, "Yo, hey, that 10 that I gave you, what'd you do? Oh man, hey, one of the guys, hey, I turned it into 15. Man, bet. What did you do? Oh man, I turned it into 3. Bet. What did you do? Oh man, I went and buried it. I didn't want to lose it." And the Bible says that God got mad. Like, why would you hide something that I gave you? You didn't do nothing for it. I gave it to you,
But I still got it.
but I wanted my return. I didn't give it to you just to sit on that. I wanted my return.
Selfish
And it
Was that God or Gordon Gekko?
and it goes back when God comes back and He tells you, "Hey, that podcast that I blessed you with, what did you do with it?
Right.
What did you do with it? When
Yeah.
I gave you the lyrics, I gave you the mind
Yes.
to put lyrics together. What did you do with it?
Yeah.
What did you do with that talent?" And
Right.
again, I don't ever want. Now I'm in the stage of my life where I finally believe I got something to say. I got something to do in this life.
Yeah.
And it took me forever to get there.
Right.
And now I got so many things that I want to do that I don't want God to come back one day and say, "Mike, I gave you the ability to talk.
Right.
Why didn't you have? Why were you quiet?
Yeah.
Somebody needs your gift. Somebody needs your gift. Somebody needs your gift, and it's all different. We all of us right here got our own section that we can reach out and touch.
Yeah.
Some can touch more. Some can't. And again, what you do with your talent is at the end of the day is like, hey, what'd you do with it?
Yeah, I agree. And so, what are your plans, man? What do
What
you
is
want
next for you?
So right now, what I'm doing is
Tell us about HEB.
Oh man, bro.
Hold up,
Can you
hold
speak
up. Let
about
me
that?
get you back.
Yeah.
Let me get you back on video.
Yeah, I could speak about that.
Like, did you sign an NDA or is like official high level? Did you get to meet Mr. Butt?
His people that run his stuff. So again, I'm at lunch and I'm sitting at this restaurant that, again, ever since I started making a little bit more money, you know, I used to go to Chamagacha and stuff like that, but now that I actually have some money, I'm like, all right, let me go to some fancy restaurants. So I was at this restaurant. Two gentlemen walk in and I'm sitting down at the table and I'm eating by myself. It's lunch and they're like, yeah, you know, I hear them talking with the waiter and they're like, hey, we're gonna be coming. They're telling the waiter, hey, we're gonna be coming a lot. We just bought this new building and we all knew it's in Alamo Heights. HEB just bought this big old building. I mean, renovated. I mean, millions of dollars. I mean, this thing is nice, and they moved into the neighborhood. And so one of the guys, he's sitting down and he looks and he's like, hey, you don't mind how? Everybody thinks I'm in the military. I hate it because I'm like,
I can see that.
I'm like, no.
You ever use that to pick up a girl? It's like, I'm lost in my act.
In the very beginning, so many people were coming up to me like, hey, like people, I was in the bar and people were like, hey, thank you for your service and give me a shot. And I'm like, no, I wasn't in the service. Then like, give me my shot back. Like, but those guys did the same thing. They were like, hey, military? And I'm like, nah, I wish I had a cool story like that, man. I said,
but I have an even cooler story.
I said, I was driving on a motorcycle, drinking and driving one night, and I lost my leg, and I told them the story, and they were like, what? Like, what? And I was like, yeah, and they were like, man, we're basically they're right under the main guy of HEB. And basically, what they're doing here is they're helping mental health. That HEB. So now every dollar that you go and spend at HEB, HEB donates a portion of that to mental health crisis. And now
is that why the price of eggs went up?
Shout out to our new sponsor, HEB.
Shout out HEB.
HEB Cola.
So they were like, hey, again, after talking to them, they were like, hey, I'm the VP of such and such foundation and such. And I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. And they're like, we're going to invite you to our grand opening. Well, I haven't heard nothing for a month. Yesterday, I was sitting in the office and the guy comes in. I was sitting in the front. I usually sit in my office and the guy comes in and he's like, man, I forgot the guy's name, man. But his story, he said he works here because our building is not too far from them. He's like, I was told by the VP to personally come and hand this invitation to him. And I was like, hey, that's me. And he's like, there you are. He's like, man, what's your name? And I was like, Mike. He goes, Mike. He goes, man, the VP personally wanted to invite you to our event. And I called him. I was like, bro, hey, I wouldn't dip out. But then the freeze and all that stuff happened, so they rescheduled it. But for me now,
I called in a favor. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, we need that done.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a God.
but for me, I think what's next. Hey, I need that soundbite.
Maybe there is a God.
But I right now, what I'm going back to, I used to do stand-up comedy. I used to do comedy. I used to do the skits, and put viral skits up, and it was doing its thing. But when I got, introduced to God, the comedy that I was doing, I was on stage talking about some crazy stuff, wilding out. And so when I, had a relationship with God, I was like, there's no way that I could still be this person talking about what I was talking about, and I let it all go. I was like, I'm done with comedy. I don't want the viral. I ended up despising Facebook because, again, as a creator, content creator, how many times do you sit there and you're, oh man, that post didn't do it. It's like, all right, let me see what time to post. Let me see what time. And again, I was always worried about the likes. If my shit didn't get 1 million, I'm deleting it. Like, I don't care if it got 300,000.
Yeah.
I'm deleting it. And so for me, I grew to hate.
Trying to get 300. Period.
I mean, man, it's crazy. Some of my videos, I mean, they went crazy. But now I'm getting back into the comedy again. I've went away from it for so long that now I'm like, you know what? It's time to go back. But
what are you doing with religion? I mean, you're going for it's for you, right? You're going to church for you, or are you
kicked out
are
right
you a
now.
part of the church? Okay, so you're like, Oh, then get back into comedy. Fuck it. But even like because you felt that, you know, if I'm giving my life to God, I can't be talking this shit on stage. Is it because you were doing things with the church? You were involved with the church?
No, it was more of I didn't understand the relationship with God.
Yeah,
and I thought that you have to be perfect.
Right.
I thought you have to be
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
I can't. Again, for the longest time, I quit drinking for 3.5 years.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying because like
And you gave him a Crown and Coke tonight. He's off the wagon.
That's why I was like, don't do it because I got the vibe.
No, but I started drinking about a year ago. After,
Nobody's gonna stab you out here.
After everything, but for me, it was almost like, again, I felt like I had to stop everything that I was doing for God to come and bless me.
That's still an attachment to that life.
And then I realized, yo, you're never gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
You're always gonna battle something. Whether you're gonna overcome this, but now you got this shit.
Yeah, and if it's if you think of it as a conversation with God, right? And if you would think God's gonna be like, dude, if I forgave you for all that other shit, you think telling a few jokes on stage, I'm gonna give up on you?
But the stuff that I was saying on stage, I was. But so now,
but they're jokes.
No, they are. But at the same time, that's like me being the speaker of the juvenile program.
But that's what I'm saying.
What does it look like me coming out here? No, I mean, I was never a part of the church because my relationship,
so you weren't representing them.
I wasn't.
You're going to church for yourself.
I didn't understand it because I would talk to people at church and I'm like, hey,
you feel regret.
I'm struggling with this, and they're like, oh, and then now everybody knows, like,
yeah,
how the hell is everybody like, bro? I told you that I was struggling with that shit, like, and now everybody knows.
No, because we're praying for you.
And so for me, that's where I was like, I'm not a Christian. Like, God, I love you.
Yeah.
But man, fuck your people. Like, I don't want to deal with them. And so this whole time, I've literally been watching church online, other pastors, been studying, reading, and doing my own thing. But God's been like, yo, you got to go back and you got to apologize. I'm like, nah, fuck that.
Don't listen to that God.
No,
that's the wrong God talking. That's not God.
No, I wish it was because I don't want to have to go back and be like, hey, not that I'm gonna come here, but hey, my bad. I tripped out. And again, it goes back to I'm doing this juvenile program. What does it look like me coming out here and flipping out? Same thing that I feel about God. Though God's not gonna be like, oh, you saying that stuff? I'm done with you. Right. Yeah, but I got a responsibility. Same thing with you. You can say certain shit.
I've said some
shit. But some of the stuff that you want to say, you're like, oh, I can't. Because again, it goes back to, once you put it out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
It's out there.
It's out there.
Oh yeah.
You
just you have to be accountable for what you're saying because you have so many people looking at you.
So and again, before I didn't have nothing to lose. What are you gonna do? You gonna take me to jail? Cool, let's go, bitch. Yeah. I'll be out tomorrow. And then now I'm like, no, you got something to lose. You and again, sometimes I feel like a hypocrite going up there and telling these kids, hey, you can make it. You're gonna do it because I wasn't that kid. And again, I'm like, but I get a chance to go back.
But did you have people at that time?
No,
saying doing what you were doing.
I mean, you had the Scared Straight program where they were taking you to the juvenile, but
but that ain't shit. That ain't effective.
It's not the same because you could see what's an act and you can see what's real.
Yeah, I had Scared Straight 2 Wednesdays ago. I still want a toxic bitch.
No, but what he's doing, he came from it. He actually did it, and he can talk to it, and you can see the authenticity of him.
So, do you think, like, now that you're getting back in it, do you think your routine, I mean, of course they're going to change as you have more life experiences.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely.
But do you think you're still going to skirt that, like, maybe...
No, and again, that's where it comes, like, again, for me, the longest time, I didn't let people hear me cuss because it was like, oh, I got to be this, Christian, like, I'm following God, like, a lot of people have seen my life, and again, they seen me out in the clubs. Wow, now they see me being a father to my daughter. I got custody of my daughter. Like,
it almost like that's fake.
Yeah, it's almost.
That ain't you.
But after a while, people are like, I get messages. I get messages. I mean, it blows my mind that the people that will come and ask me, hey, Mike, can you pray for me? Like, hey, I don't believe in God, but man, bro, like, I don't know what you're doing in your life, but bro, whatever
You shouldn't be here, homie, and you're fucking here.
And so again,
Can you do something for me?
Yeah.
Can you touch the fucking top of my head real quick?
But and I tell people like,
not that one.
I think God picked. I think God picked the worst one to fix, so that if everybody else saw it,
Job.
everybody else would be like
Job.
You can't lost it all, and got it back double, But like for me, it's almost like, God, why would you use me? And again, when God gives you
law of averages, dummy.
when you get a dream that you cannot hold yourself, and you know that there's no way that you can do that by yourself, it scares you because you're like, I've been at the bottom,
right?
And right now it feels like I'm holding everything, but at the same time, I know that it could be gone just like that.
Yeah. I mean, want to go to the bar?
No.
Let's roll.
How do you write your comedy?
Man, to be honest with you, bro, I have never wrote comedy.
Dude, it's all improv.
Have you done an open mic?
Yes, and I've ate
you just
shit.
go up there and talk shit?
No. So a lot of my comedy is more about my life, and more so than like before.
Right.
It was about being a hood rat. Just different nightclub shit, different stories that I would turn into, like, again, a skit.
But how do you write? Do you just come up with them on the fly and like, all right, let's record this part?
And you know what is crazy is that I literally started comedy maybe like about 4 years ago, right? And I've done, you know who Juan Villarreal is? Yeah. Okay. I opened up for Juan Villarreal.
Oh shit! What the fuck did you do?
Exactly. I was going viral already.
You didn't have your leg then, right?
No, I had a prosthetic. All
right.
But
did you include that in your act?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Have to, right?
I have to. So I was.
You got a leg up on that shit.
You got a leg up on the competition, man. So I
can't do that.
I ended up getting signed to a contract to have somebody sponsor me. Again, I was going viral. I was doing all this stuff, and shout out to my manager Sharif. She was like, let's put a show together. Like, who do you want? I got Polar Bear Comedy. I got Israel, Mario Salazar, and Juan Villarreal. And they were upset because, again, I'm new to comedy, but we were paying for the shows. My manager is putting it on. Yeah. So if you're new, you have to open. If you're, you got and I was like, nah, I'll go right after Juan Villarreal. Well, Juan Villarreal tore the damn Josefina arena up.
I'll teach you.
I'm sitting outside in the parking lot throwing up because I'm so nervous. And I'm
Is this your first stand up?
This was my second stand up show. And I'm,
hey bro, can you pray for me? I don't know what you do with your life.
So I'm standing out there and I could just hear you can hear the roars, like laughing, and I'm like,
they're saying my name.
And they're like, and he's like, all right, that's my time, I gotta go. And then the music comes and I'm running from outside, I'm going inside, and they're like, coming to the stage next, San Antonio's home, Mike G. And then I'm like, it wasn't even ready, but it was like, let's go. Man, I went out there and I killed it, bro. Like I didn't write nothing. But I've also showed up to stage and I've literally blanked, like eating shit, and people are like, go. Yeah. And they're like, I mean, go. I remember one time I had this skit where I took off my leg and I went on stage with no leg. I went on with crutches. It was part of my skit. And I went on stage and I'm over there telling my joke and I just blank out. And I literally brought like 40 people from San Antonio to Austin to come watch my show. Sold tickets, everything. And they're in and I'm just like, and I'm trying to tell my boy to bring my leg back so I can get off the stage. And he's like, keep going. And so I'm on stage eating shit.
You completely forgot.
I completely, not that I completely forgot, but.
You forgot the order?
I had an order, but I got so high on the drive up there, and even
But I didn't know I had to pay for parking. I didn't have to pay.
even sitting in the thing, like we were in Austin on 6th Street, and we were able to smoke, like we were smoking out on the thing. And I got so stupid high that I didn't calculate the little dance that I had, because I went up to every little step you take. I went up to there. So I had
Used to be our outro song right there.
So I had a little dance that I had, but I didn't think that I was gonna be so tired. So after I was doing the dance, and I was like, all right, cut the music. They started like, all right, the music cut. Now it's my set. Well, I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath. I ain't got no air. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, and they're like,
But they were
like, go, and I'm like.
They were ready.
They were ready, and the crowd was so cool because they were like, come on, you got it, man, you got
break
it.
a leg.
Yeah, break another one. But I kept telling my boy like bring my leg, and he was like,
no,
you got it. I'm like, bring my
You're
leg.
about to kill this shit. No, bring my
Give me a hand.
But now I started riding. In the last 2 years, like again, I was about to start up and right before pandemic, and then pandemic happened, and I was like, maybe this ain't for me.
Yeah.
But I've had in the last, I want to say the last year, I've had people hit me up and like, yo, you want to do a show? I mean, people know that I can. People know that I can pack out a place again, especially with the.
You could still do that. You can still pull people.
It blows my mind.
Really?
I mean, I'd go to one of your shows.
I'd
go to one of your shows.
Fuck yeah. But
it blows.
If you give me some free tickets.
How many years since you promoted?
Me?
Yeah.
I think the last time was 2017.
But you maintain your contacts.
But I maintain my contacts, and you know what's so crazy is that again, you know, I haven't done anything. I've been out of the game, and it's so crazy how easy it is for you to get back into the wrong shit.
Yes.
And how much it's easy for you to go to the right stuff. And for me, it blew my mind a couple weeks ago that. Again, I've been out of the night scene. I've been out, and I had some friends like, "Yo, let's go to the strip club."
Right.
And I was like, I ain't been in the strip club, and it's been some years, probably like 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's go. So we go to All Stars, and we go over there, and they were like, you know, one of my boys didn't have an ID.
Yeah.
And then me, I'm like, you know what? We don't need this strip club. I called my boy I haven't talked to him in years.
Yeah.
He's promoting another strip club, and I'm like, hey, I got one, no ID. Come on. And it blew. I literally ran out of Sugars. Like I was in Sugars, and I was there, and everybody just was coming up to me and was like,
damn.
Where
have you been?
What do you know?
Oh.
What are you doing here?
Oh shit.
What are you doing? And I'm like,
Looking at the
I'm like
rings.
tripping. The same and I'll never forget. I was just standing at the bar, and I was drinking, and I was like, I go to the restroom, and then some other girl, like, again, I hadn't been in the night scene for, 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, Mike? And I'm like, and then the second girl told me, like, what?
Jesse Pinkman?
She was like, what are you, you're tripping, right?
She said, "What are you doing here, bitch? What are you doing still working here?"
Right?
Hey,
What about that degree you were fucking paying for?
But what hurt my heart the most was that it's 2023, but that shit looked like 2016 all over again.
Yeah.
The same people.
Yep.
The same people were at the bar drinking. The same people were on there selling dope. The same people were in, and I'm serious. I went to the restroom, and I was like, I did the Irish goodbye. I see you later.
You're like, this ain't me no more.
I got in the car, and I was like, I was driving home, and I cried. I was like, how can you? And again, it goes back to how can you get pulled from something that almost killed you,
and then go straight back.
Go straight back to it.
But I think that shows growth, though.
Oh no!
Because in the old days, you would have just dove right in. Now you're like, all right, I recognize this. Let's get out.
Yeah, and that's what I took from it. I was like, there was a time that I didn't even worry about none of this. It was just like, hey, we turning up. Like let's do it.
Yeah.
And so it was growth, But there was enough stuff in me that pushed me back to there that I still got to deal with.
Your subconscious is still gonna take you. It's called fucking shit, domestication, bro. It's like you've been domestic. Nope. It's like we're not born with any rules when we're kids. We're not born with any language when we're kids, except for the fucking people that we're around. We get domesticated with these rules or not, you know, and they're called rules, right? But fucking the rules can be the good rules, right? Where you have parents, you have at least one fucking good parent that's giving you some fucking guidance. Or they could be bad rules. Like, this is what you do when somebody fucks with you. You knock the motherfucker out. This is how you make your money. You go and sell some dope on the corner and you're going to make quick money. You know, those rules too, you know, and you learn those rules throughout your life. For you to just shake them because some bad shit happened to you.
And that's the thing that I think with the whole, like, believing in God. Like, they say that when God gets you, like, God forgives you for all the stuff that you did, right?
Yeah.
But how do you forgive yourself? Yeah. You can forgive me,
Right.
but I still gotta live with that.
Yeah, that's the judge inside you.
And it is. But at the same time, that voice in your head is still trying to keep you back. And one thing that
the victim.
One thing that my therapist said was, she was like, Mike, your adult self right now is fighting with your 10-year-old self.
Exactly.
And your 10-year-old self is still here, and you're trying to tame him. And if your 36-year-old self don't tame him, the hurt kid,
right,
he's gonna ruin the 36-year-old's life.
Always.
And it was like, whoa! When I saw that, I was like,
you're like, you went to college to tell me this?
I should have just gone on a podcast. Everything will be good.
I could have just.
Yeah, fuck.
But
how, right?
And again, for me, it goes back to, I don't know why I was given the gifts that I was given. Like, for me, it blows my mind how I can go and talk to doctors and literally sit there and talk with doctors, and doctors ask me for my opinion on their amputee patient.
Right.
Like, hey, we're gonna bring in the specialist, and I'm like, it's
He's
like,
looking out the door like,
where's this fool at? Where's he coming? Where's he coming? But I can go from there and then also go and talk to drug dealers, and also go talk to kids that, but go talk to kids that, I mean, it just blows my mind how I can go from one room to another room. And
then you ever ask yourself, why am I like this?
all the time.
Yeah, that's why. For the same fucking reason. Right? Because
if
you weren't like this, you wouldn't be able to fucking do these things.
Definitely.
You know? Be the vessel that you need to be for whatever fucking higher purpose that you're living
Serving.
out.
And
so it truly is.
And then to get back to, so I'm getting back into comedy, but I'm also in the process of doing a nonprofit for people who don't have insurance, who can't afford prosthetic legs. Like, for me, I would be sitting at the house if I didn't get a chance. If that 10-year-old kid didn't call the news and give me a chance, I don't know where the hell I'd be still. I'd probably be in a wheelchair. I don't know. I probably would have ended my life. But my goal is to have people who are like me, that don't have insurance, who get their leg amputated, and we give you a leg with no cost to you.
What's it going to take to do that?
It's a lot.
Well, let me tell you what, man. We have this check for...
come on. Let's go.
We don't have check.
You heard it right here. You heard it first.
This is Cash App.
See, the way my bank account is situated.
The Cash App is at Bianca G. You should be just go ahead and request $2,000. It'll get you started.
Dude, we had Bianca G. Now we got Mike G.
No, but really,
Nice
I mean,
person.
what are the steps you have to take to?
So to do a nonprofit 501c3, you have to have a board of directors, and that's at least 5 to 6 people who are basically wealthy, got their head together, and basically are gonna oversee all the money that comes in.
All right.
And then again, that's the one thing about the nonprofit that is the hardest. You have to find a board of directors.
Right.
You have to find somebody that's gonna put. Again, the thing that I want to do, it's like $6,000-$7,000.
Okay.
So you have to have someone put in that, but then you have to have a trustee.
Right.
You have to have the main person of the board. You have to have all of this stuff. So Right now, what I'm trying to do is the same thing that everybody else is doing, the GoFundMe. Because, again, I have so many patients.
Right.
And it's just getting them to tell their story. Like, hey, I lost my leg, and this is what I want to get back to doing. So my goal for this year is to at least give away like 5 or 6 legs.
What's the GoFundMe?
I haven't made it yet.
Okay.
But I'm going.
Right.
But I'm
that's,
going
that's
to.
the plan. That's part of the plan.
No,
All
that's part of it. But
All right.
I finally got some.
He's still doing the legwork.
Come on, I like
Man,
but
just thought you'd take a stab at that.
Yeah.
but I had to get it. I had to get it cleared with my job because again, for me, I work for the company, but at the same time, raising money and then filtering it through your company.
Yeah,
it
can be considered a conflict.
It's a conflict of interest because again, it's a. You're basically saying, "Oh, I'm going to do a nonprofit to fund my business or fund my job," and so it's tricky, especially what HIPAA laws and stuff.
Yeah, I get it. You know, one is waiting for you plant the seeds, you know, and waiting for those right connections to come about, and then the right situation, right? Whether it be, you know, you got to separate. You found, you know, better money. Yeah. And you're able to separate from the company, you know, and then really go into that shit.
For sure.
You know, I think the beauty is that you got the blessing of having resources and knowing how to talk to people. And it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's the fucking attorney or it's the fucking homeless guy on the street. You're going to talk to that motherfucker.
And that's how the whole HEB thing came up. Like, they're literally a nonprofit, and they were like, yo, do you put this stuff on has the news interviewed you?
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's how it started. But he's
Send
like,
him the
no.
link.
He's like, but know what you're doing here. Like, he goes, man, just come to the open house, and we're going to talk.
There it is. It could be the beginning. And then you're always keeping your mind open to that, right?
And again, like, I look for every opportunity that comes to you. And again, I fumbled a lot of things.
Yeah.
I fumbled because you get something, you're like, how the hell? And you just end up just fumbling it.
Yeah.
Well, if we can build any type of platform and have any impact on that shit, I'm sure we're down.
Yep.
Mike's got some ground to make up.
I was going to be on the board of trustees.
Getting you.
But I ain't got
The what?
or I'm not good with money either.
I was saying.
Forgetting you
Pretty much
attempted
I'm
murder.
saying.
Oh yeah. Dude.
I won't be on a board of directors unless it's a.
Yeah, I think I owe you one.
You know what would be cool though is a live podcast comedy, like we're just making jokes. You know,
like it.
we have a podcast set up and there's a crowd and we're just each fucking cracking jokes.
That'd be badass.
That'd be cool.
Hasn't Rogan done that?
No, that would Kill Tony that's kind of what they do, but they do open mic.
Yeah.
So people come up and something like that, but not like that.
Oh.
But there's endless things that you can do.
Yeah.
And again, like one thing that my boss has told me a lot of times, because again, he's a multi-millionaire. I mean, he's doing his thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're about to come up on 10 years with this company. From building the company, him and another guy quit their job. I mean, literally came to San Antonio and just started like hitting the ground. Wow. 10 years later, they have this company. But my boss is always telling me, because he's like, well, what do you want to do with the social media? Because my company never had social media. And I'm like, I want to do the videos. And they're like, cool, we give you, this is your budget for social media.
All right.
Do your thing. Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Wow.
And
pocket it.
And then and then for me, it's like
stick figures on there.
It's like, okay, I finally got somebody to do it, but now I'm scared to do the jump because
I get it. Yeah, I feel you.
What if I look dumb? What if I look stupid? What if I? Right. And it's all that what if, and it's like my boss told me, he goes, Mike, how long have we been talking about the social media? How long have I gave you a budget?
All right.
You told me that you needed a budget, that you were gonna do this.
Yeah.
You haven't done nothing, Mike.
And now you're catching that pussy, Mike.
And now you're catching it, and he's like, "What are you scared of?" He's like, "It's not your money.
The pressure ain't there. That pressure ain't there.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to work for it. I mean, not that you didn't have to work for it, but it was boom, drop right there. It's
right
like,
there. And it was like,
well, I don't got to get up now.
Yeah, it's not my money, but it's your money.
Yeah. I'm like, but again, the whole time I didn't even think that. Again, they would believe in my vision like that.
That's true, and you're having a hard time even believing in it still.
I have, again, you ask somebody for $20 and they're like, and I'm asking for thousands of dollars for media.
You just got to remember, dog, that you got it.
Come on.
And not everybody has it.
Come on, man.
That's it, and you're always going to have self-doubt.
Come on, man.
Always going to have self-doubt. Everybody's got it.
For sure.
You miss all the shots you don't take. You feel me?
Michael Scott. Wayne Gretzky.
You don't take that first click. You don't take that first fucking effort. You know, it don't happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you sit there like, fuck, I could have fucking done that shit, man. I could have killed it. Every time I fucking put my mind to it, I kill it. But I can't get to the point where I put my mind to it sometimes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get that fire. Sometimes you got a week where you're just like, fuck, man,
fuck this.
I can do this shit. Let's go.
Or you're going to do it and you're like, that was fucking easy.
Yeah.
Why the fuck it take me so long?
And again, like working with this company, again, my job is to, again, bring people in, find other ways to get people to pay for these legs and do this. And being in this company and doing that, like I've done it. And it's crazy because you see the success and you're like, I always thought success was going to be like, man, we chilling. Man, success is the scariest thing to have because, again, I know where I come from and I know the chance that I've been given. And it's like, Mike G can mess all this up. Yeah. But at the same time, Mike G can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike G can change a life if we just get social media out there.
Come on.
And it's still a moving target. You know, success is a moving target.
Oh, man.
You get to one point and then you're like...
You're not done. You're not done growing.
Yeah.
You're human. You're just going to want to keep growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
For sure.
We got to remember that shit. You know?
So we start wrapping this one up, Beans.
Now we're here. Man, Mike G... Appreciate your stories, man. Like 100% best podcast I've fucking ever done.
I appreciate that, man.
We got the setup right. The video is gonna be a pain in the fucking ass to edit, but I like this. That
angle's good.
Angle, right? I think
we might just need one camera. We just keep alternating them.
Just alternating. That'll make it easier on me to fucking edit. But this one's gonna be a tough one to edit.
This one's gonna be the good one.
It is gonna be a fucking real good one.
Yeah, I mean we're getting progressively better. I think.
Yeah, man.
This is probably gonna be easily my second favorite one we've done.
Who's the first?
The one that never came.
The one that never got posted.
Yeah, we actually did a run through podcast and we just never posted it because
somebody had
his mic audio. Muted. Yeah, his audio didn't pop up.
His audio didn't pop up. I had the mute button fucking activated. I didn't realize it, and I kept telling him like, I can't hear you, bro.
Nah, like, man, but if you ever want to come back, man, we'll fucking have you again.
We will drop everything.
I actually want to bring y'all into the studio too, into mine, and man, definitely. And again,
let's do it. I mean, we could even get one started there. You know, a different. Branded one.
Wait, is it closer than this place?
No, everything's. I'm actually on the other side of town.
Shit, we're taking your car then.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just worked on it. I don't know if we want to take it.
Give it a roll.
But no, man, I appreciate it, man. This is dope. I love the setup. I love the flow of it, man. Y'all keep going. Keep putting it out there, man. Content.
Yeah.
You want to plug any social media, sir?
Mike_G Comedy is my Instagram, and Mimistry Garza is my Facebook.
Where's that come from?
Mimistry, like ministry, but I want to make people laugh with God. I don't want to get them all like, "Hey, Jesus loves you," but I want to, I'll make fun of not God, but I'll make fun of like
his people at that fucking church that we can go run up on tomorrow.
They talk about Joel Osteen.
Coming for you.
Joel Osteen.
But yeah, I mean, it's just
you got TikTok?
Yeah, at Amp360.
Amp360.
Yeah, Amp Life 3. Well, not Amp Life, but I wanted to put Amp Life, but someone else got it.
Is he an amputee?
I don't know. He better be.
Okay.
Nah, he sells amps.
Right, fuck. All right, man.
For sure, man. I appreciate y'all, man.